Chapter 5031 Boom. When Long Chen's big hand grabbed the Lingfeng sword, the power attached to the Lingfeng sword burst open, the blue bricks under Long Chen's feet cracked, and the wind was like a knife, rushing in all directions. Kakaka! The enchantment on the arena was torn apart, and even penetrated in some places, but what was penetrated was only the first layer of realm. But even so, the scene in front of them still made the audience silent. They widened their eyes and looked at the figure with long hair flying, black robe floating, holding a sword in one hand, and a rock-solid figure, each with their mouths open. No sound at all. Even Jiang Wang was so shocked that his eyes were about to bulge out, and Long Chen actually caught the magic weapon with his bare hands, and he caught it. The patriarchs of the four great gods and the heavenly vein-level heavenly sages also had expressions of astonishment on their faces. No one knew better than them how strong Yi Lingxiao was at this time. But such a powerful Yi Lingxiao is still no match for Long Chen. Long Chen's posture is unrestrained, his movements are calm, and he easily catches Yi Lingxiao's sword. Who can believe it? Golem, the sound of countless people swallowing saliva came out, and they couldn't believe their eyes. How could this Long Chen be so outrageous? Is this a monster? Although most of Yi Lingxiao's breath was isolated by the barrier, even so, the spectators could feel that he was filled with the breath of death. If they were to fight against it, let alone take over, the breath alone was enough to destroy their soul will and kill them in an instant. But it was such a terrifying Yi Lingxiao, who used the first move after Ling Feng possessed the body, and was caught by Long Chen with his bare hands. Not only was everyone stunned, even Zhao Qingtian in the ring was dumbfounded, Yi Lingxiao's pupils shrank, and his face was full of disbelief. That's it. Long Chen looked at Yi Lingxiao and said indifferently, "If your attack only has this strength, I can take at least 87 times. Call." Suddenly, Long Chen swung his hand, and Yi Lingxiao was thrown out with his sword. However, Yi Lingxiao turned several times in the air, unloading Long Chen's power, and did not hit the barrier. Although he was knocked back, but not embarrassed. After Long Chen flung Yi Lingxiao, the cross in his palm slowly disappeared. Except for Long Chen, no one saw the cross. Long Chen's surface is light and cloudy, but his heart is full of ecstasy. This cross destroys the gods, and he has used it freely at this time, without the slightest anger. Yi Lingxiao's sword was extremely terrifying. Before learning to cross the gods, Long Chen had to use the Keel Evil Moon to resist. Although Long Chen's dragon blood battle body is strong, but in the face of the highly concentrated Lingfeng sword, Long Chen's hand will be smashed. However, the cross destroyer directly cancelled all the power of that blow. Long Chen said that it can withstand 87 times, which is not bragging, because this is the weakest cross destroyer that Long Chen has condensed, and he can cast 8 in one breath. 17 times. And the weakest cross destroyer does not need to use body, speech and mind at the same time, so it does not need to call out its name. The weakest cross extinguisher can resist the full blow of Ling Fengjian. Even with Long Chen's calmness, he will be excited and dancing. This cross extinguishing god is too terrifying. Resisting this blow, Long Chen can be regarded as a test. This blow just offsets Yi Lingxiao's sword. If Long Chen's cross-extinguishing god is stronger, it will blow the sword into the air. If it is weaker, Long Chen dust palms will hurt. And this blow just offset, Long Chen easily grabbed Lingfeng's sword, which shows that the power between the two is almost equal. Yi Lingxiao was shocked and angry. He thought that he could hack Long Chen to death with one sword. Even if he didn't hack to death, he would be half killed, but he didn't expect that Long Chen would easily resist it. He was even more ashamed. Before, the audience said that everything was over, and the Yi family disciples who were dying of Long Chen also felt their faces were hot. Long Chen looked at Yi Lingxiao, who was full of anger, and did not forget to make a knife. Just rely on this trick to defeat Long Tianrui? You think too much. What? Yi Lingxiao was mad with anger, waving the long sword, walking with the sword chi spewed like a tide, and roared to kill Long Chen, 19 swords in one breath. Shichichi! The fierce sword chi split the space, and the arena and the barrier were all covered with dense sword marks, and the momentum was extremely terrifying. However, although his swordsmanship is fierce, he can't cut Long Chen. Long Chen's pace changes, like a phantom flickering, and all attacks are avoided by him. That's it? I thought how strong you are after possessing the body. It turned out to be a group of half-assed sword cultivators to guide a crazy fool. Long Chen avoided while not forgetting to ridicule. 10 tricks have long passed, let me do it. Zhao Qingtian on the edge of the ring suddenly reacted and stopped drinking, but Yi Lingxiao, who was already red-eyed, ignored him at all, and was still rushing frantically. Bastard, his life is mine. Zhao Qingtian roared, the destiny roulette behind him lit up, the long-handled sword was in his hand, and a dark yellow mist appeared on the destiny roulette. Boom! The arena trembled suddenly, and suddenly a sharp thorn burst out of the arena, separating Long Chen and Yi Lingxiao. At the same time, Zhao Qingtian held a long-handled sword and slashed down at Long Chen. The sword fell, the dust was flying, and I don't know when, the blue bricks on the entire arena disappeared, forming a land of lus. No, the arena has changed, someone exclaimed. The arena has been replaced with a thick earth world that is more beneficial to Zhao Qingtian. Sure enough, they all came prepared and must kill Long Chen. Feng Fei said coldly when she saw this scene, and a touch appeared on the corner of her mouth. The color of ridicule. Do you really think that this will kill Long Chen? Within the barrier, the arena disappeared, replaced by a thick earth world with a radius of millions of miles and endless lus. Boom! Yi Lingxiao was hit by the power of thick soil and flew backwards, while a cross appeared on Long Chen's big hand, blocking Zhao Qingshan's blow. There was a loud noise, the dust flew up, and Long Chen stepped back a few steps. He was also a cross killer. He could block Yi Lingxiao's blow, but not Zhao Qingshan's. Needless to say, the long sword in Zhao Qingshan's hand is also a divine weapon of inheritance. With the blessing of the power of thick soil, it is stronger than Yi Lingxiao's Lingfeng sword. It's too unfair. It's really shameless. When Gui Jiao and Long Ziwei saw this scene, they couldn't help but scolded, 2-1, not to mention the wheel battle, but they even secretly changed venues. Is there anything more despicable than this? Go away, Long Chen's life is mine. Yi Lingxiao was interrupted by Zhao Qingtian and roared. Zhao Qingtian did not show weakness. The 10-stroke agreement has passed, and this Long Chen is mine. Fuck, I'll kill him now. Go away. Yi Lingxiao and Zhao Qingtian rushed towards Long Chen at the same time. At this time, Long Chen patted the dust on his body and looked at Qin Feng outside the arena. You guys are progressing so fast, as the boss, naturally you can't be lazy, let me show you today, the boss' real strength now. Red Dragon Battle Body, now. Long Chen shouted, like a god roaring, shaking the universe. Boom! Zhao Qingtian and Yi Lingxiao, who were rushing towards Long Chen, just rushed to Long Chen's side, as if they hit the stars, and they rolled backwards and flew out. Chapter 50-32 Boom! The two figures rolled out, plowed out 2 large ditches on the ground, and rolled for hundreds of miles all the way before they stabilized their bodies. When the two stood up again, they were already disgraced and embarrassed. They looked at Long Chen in horror. At this time, Long Chen was covered with blood-colored dragon scales. The blood-colored cloak behind him floated slowly, and a dark black ink-shaped evil knife was carried on Long Chen's shoulders. Behind Long Chen, the divine ring circulates, and the figure of the giant dragon in the divine ring wanders back and forth. The 10,000-mile divine ring can only hold a few scales of it, and it is impossible to see the whole picture. That picture makes the soul chill. This is the strongest state of the boss. When they saw the familiar figure, Qin Feng on the spectator stage shouted excitedly, while Long Ziwei, Gui Jiao and others were all startled. The difference from the past is that this time the dragon's blood was summoned to fight, and the breath of Long Chen did not leak wildly, and he could not see the scene of the turbulent airflow sweeping the sky. On each of his scales, there was a rune that he had never seen before. The rune was extremely dim. If you didn't look carefully, you wouldn't be able to find it at all. But it was this bleak rune that made Long Chen's breath change earth-shaking. His power no longer spread randomly, but began to be restrained. Today's dragon blood battle body is less violent and more profound. The previous Long Chen was like a mountain waterfall. He didn't see its shape. He heard its sound first, and the momentum was amazing. And now Long Chen is like a blue sea, calm and calm, but below this calm sea, it contains endless power, which is terrifying. What just happened? Jiang Wang looked at Feng Fei, because just now, he was distracted for a moment, and he didn't see how Long Chen made his move. He didn't know whether he chopped them off with a knife, or used other tricks to kill them. Hit fly. They rushed to Long Chen, and before they touched Long Chen, they were shocked by Long Chen's breath. Feng Fei said, "No kidding." Jiang Wang was surprised and annoyed at the same time. She thought Feng Fei was tricking him on purpose. Feng Fei didn't argue. She stared at Long Chen with all her attention. Since she chose to be a spectator, she must look at it carefully and not be distracted in the slightest. And the powerhouses of the four Protoss are not calm at this time, especially the Yi family and the Zhao family. They are beginning to feel a little uneasy. Although they arranged a lot of plans, as Long Chen continued to show his strength, they smelled danger in the meeting. On the battlefield, Yi Lingxiao and Zhao Qingtian were frightened and angry. They didn't even know what happened. Before the weapons were released, they hit something and were bounced back. At this time, Long Chen's breath was completely released, and his cultivation base was no longer the gods of the 9 heavens, but the great consummation of the gods. The same as gods, Long Chen's breath was much thicker than the two. At this time, people finally saw Long Chen's cultivation base, and at the same time, they were even more astonished. Long Chen's breath was much stronger than that of ancient powerhouses. Throughout the entire competition, it seems that only the breath of Long Tianrui can be compared with Long Chen. This discovery has made the senior leaders of the four Protoss even more uneasy. Long Chen carried the Keel Evil Moon and looked up lazily at the void. Through the barrier, he could clearly see the horrified face of the head of the Long family. "How is it? Do you regret it? Thinking that if you killed me and put the blame on Brahma Pill Valley, you can get rid of it 100 times? In fact, I feel pity for you. You are still a little wise, although not much, but at least not too stupid. It's a pity that you shouldn't have prejudice against our father and son. Otherwise, with the character of my father and son, sooner or later, the favor of the Long family will be repaid. You have given me benefits, although those benefits belong to me, but I will not take them with peace of mind. It's a pity, in the end, your reason still did not overcome greed, and with the encouragement of 2 pig teammates, you chose a road of no return. The matter has reached this stage, everyone has already torn their skins, and there is nothing to worry about. In this case, everyone will show up." The head of the Long family gritted his teeth and argued, "You, what nonsense are you talking about if you didn't kill people indiscriminately? Okay, I've seen through my face. It doesn't make any sense to talk about those high-sounding words, but I have one thing that I can't figure out, and I want to ask the Patriarch for advice." Long Chen said. Seeing that Long Chen didn't mention the matter of the Qingkuan cauldron, the head of the Long family was not in a hurry to close the enchantment, and asked, "What do you want to ask?" Long Chen carried the Keel Shiyue in one hand, and pointed at Yi Lingxiao and Zhao Qingtian with the other. "Do they no longer want these 2 things, and want to borrow my hand to kill them?" Long Chen pointed this out. Yi Lingxiao and Zhao Qingtian couldn't help but be furious, and Long Chen didn't take them seriously at all. Buzz! Zhao Qingtian suddenly collapsed and turned into soil and scattered all over the place, and behind Long Chen, a clay figurine appeared silently, and then the clay figurine turned into the appearance of Zhao Qingtian, with the sword in his hand facing Long Chen's back. Prick! This bizarre scene, the powerhouses in the outfield could see clearly, and everyone exclaimed. It was the first time they had seen such a bizarre attack. It was almost impossible to guard against. Turtle, you know, sneak attack from behind. Long Chen looked at the head of the Long family, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, and without turning his head, the Keel Shiyue in his hand slashed backwards without looking at it, but the knife was precisely cut on Zhao Qingshan's long knife. Boom! With a loud bang, the ground exploded, and the sand swelled for thousands of miles. Zhao Qingtian spurted out a mouthful of blood, and people flew against the ground. Puff! Just as Zhao Qingtian stood up, Another mouthful of blood spurted out. At that moment, the Zhao family's powerhouses couldn't sit still, and stood up one by one, their eyes full of horror. "I'm going so strong?" Long Chen himself was taken aback. Although Qin Kuan-ding said that after he cultivated the dragon blood cross to destroy the gods, the dragon blood battle body would give him a surprise, but this surprise was too big. The sky was chopped off. "Just kidding? On your scales, the Emperor's blood marks have appeared. Although it is dim, the trace of Emperor's prestige is not a joke. It is a coercion that is above any law." Qin Kuan-ding said, "Idiot, I know what kind of power you have, but it's just rubbish. In the end, it's up to me." Seeing Zhao Qingtian being knocked into the air, Yi Lingxiao not only showed no sympathy, but a look of ridicule on his face. Yi Lingxiao looked at Long Chen, and there was a gloomy smile on the corner of his mouth. "I admit that you are very strong, but unfortunately, no matter how strong you are, you have to die, because no one can resist Lingfeng's possession in full state." "Ling Xiao, don't." When seeing this scene, the patriarch of the Yi family shouted in horror. "Buzz," but at that moment, Yi Lingxiao's eyes slowly closed. When he opened his eyes again, his pupils changed completely, and his breath became old and simple. In other words, Yi Lingxiao today is no longer Yi Lingxiao. "Buzz," Yi Lingxiao pointed his sword at Long Chen, and an old voice came. "My name is Lingfeng, who are you?" Chapter 50-33. When Yi Lingxiao opened his mouth, the face of the strong Yi family changed. At this time, Yi Lingxiao was completely controlled by Ling Fengjin. In order to gain absolute power, Yi Lingxiao gave up on himself, and he gave up his life to Ling Fengjin. At this time, it was the owner of Lingfeng's sword, Yi Lingfeng, who was in control of Yi Lingxiao, who was also the ancestor of the Yi family. Facing Yi Lingfeng's inquiry, Long Chen let out a sigh. "I won't hide it if it's like this. In fact, I'm your long-lost father." Puff. On such a serious occasion, Long Chen suddenly said such a sentence. Feng Fei couldn't help it at the time, and laughed out loud. But the other powerhouses didn't smile. Their expressions were frozen and their faces were weird. They couldn't figure out what was in Long Chen's head. Yi Lingfeng looked at Long Chen, and it seemed that after merging with the tool spirit, his mind was not so flexible. After a while, he realized that Long Chen was scolding him, and his face was gloomy. "Huangko child, and dare to be presumptuous?" Immediately after that, he began to look at the situation around him, and suddenly he looked up at the Yi family head, and couldn't help shouting sharply, "My Yi family's younger generation is so incompetent to deal with a yellow-mouthed child. I also need my ancestor to take action." Yi clan leader and others did not dare to speak, but that was Yi Lingfeng, the ancestor of the Yi clan. When he saw that his opponent was a god-respected kid like Long Chen, he was furious. Because when Yi Lingfeng was awakened, it was the Yi family that was in crisis, at the juncture of life and death, and Yi Lingfeng was awakened as a last resort. But Yi Lingxiao, a kid who doesn't know the importance, actually wakes up Yi Lingfeng directly, making Yi Lingfeng mistakenly think that the Yi family is in crisis, so he is very angry, and to deal with a god-respected kid, he also needs to take action in person. Has the Yi family fallen to such a point? "Okay, Dad, you have seen me too, you can go back, there is nothing to do with you." Long Chen comforted. "Little yellow mouth, keep your mouth shut, die." Long Chen's repeated provocations made the ancestor of the Yi family furious, and the Lingfeng sword in his hand slashed at Long Chen. "Old pudding, is it your face? If you don't get out, then die here." Long Chen was also scolded and angered, and the Keel evil moon slammed down. Boom! With one sword, the whole world collapsed, the power of the two exploded in an instant, and the earth slowly collapsed. Boom, boom, boom. The power of the two people slammed wildly, and the enchantment on the top of the head burst one after another, and 18 bursts burst in an instant. The scene shocked the high-level people of the four gods. Who would have thought that Long Chen would be able to such terrifying power erupted? The most terrifying thing is that the Keel evil moon in Long Chen's hand is pressing against Yi Lingfeng's long sword. Boom! With a loud noise, Long Chen and Yi Lingfeng retreated at the same time, and then rushed towards each other like lightning. Dang dang dang. Swords, lights, swords and shadows swayed back and forth. In an instant, the two of them fought hundreds of moves against each other. In the endless dust, they could no longer see their silhouettes, and only the sound of knife tips colliding. Che, as I said before, it's a half-assed sword cultivator. If Yu Zifeng is here, if you can block him for 3 moves and not die, it will be your life. Long Chen's sneer came. Boom, with a loud bang, I saw a sword shadow rising into the sky, severing the void, and a figure flew out backwards. People exclaimed, that person was Yi Lingxiao who was possessed by Yi Lingfeng. Huangko child, don't be arrogant. Yi Lingfeng shouted angrily. He suddenly pointed his sword to the sky, his body was wrapped in runes, and his breath was rapidly rising. Ancestor doesn't want it, Yi Lingxiao's body can't bear it, he will die. Yi clan leader yelled in horror. Back then, he didn't let Yi Lingxiao use the complete Lingfeng possession. Because of this, Yi Lingfeng was the ancestor of the Yi family, and his strength ranked in the top 10 in the history of the Yi family. Due to physical limitations, Yi Lingfeng's strength could not be exerted, so he would draw the power of heaven and earth into the wheel of destiny to gain greater power. He couldn't fight against Long Chen before, not because of his lack of strength, but because of Yi Lingxiao's lack of strength. Under his rage, he didn't care about Yi Lingxiao's life or death, and violently extracted the power of heaven and earth. Kakaka! Suddenly, cracks appeared on the destiny wheel behind Yi Lingxiao, which indicated that Yi Lingxiao's limit had been reached. Ling Feng Jugad, Yi Lingfeng roared, and the long sword fell. This blow brought together all the strengths of him and Yi Lingxiao. The combination of one person and one sword can shock the world. When this sword was cut out, even the people outside the arena felt like falling into an ice cellar, unable to move their bodies, and even they were locked by the sword intent of this sword. With this sword, even a lineage of heavenly saints like Long Yaoting felt their souls tremble. This sword already had the strength to kill them, and it was an absolutely crushing kill. Let you be convinced of your defeat, open the sky, 6 styles in 1. Long Chen snorted coldly, and above the evil moon on the keel, the 6 open sky runes lit up, the shadow of the sword soared into the sky, and the evil spirit was entangled. Boom, the earth was split open, and the barrier was torn apart in more than 50 ways in an instant. A terrifying strong wind roared out, and spread out across the remaining barrier. Boom! On the viewing platform, countless people were overturned, and some people even vomited blood because of the shock. No one thought that the power of the two could be transmitted through the 100 Paths barrier, which has subverted their perception of power. In the chaos of the people, their eyes were still fixed on the barrier. As the dust slowly dissipated, the figures of Long Chen and Yi Lingxiao slowly emerged. Long Chen was still waving his sword, while Yi Lingxiao, who was opposite him, had his sword hanging on the ground, his eyes were lost, and there was no trace of expression. Crack clap. The Lingfeng sword slowly broke and fell to the ground piece by piece. What? The powerhouses of the Yi family were all astonished that the Lingfeng sword was broken, which means... Puff! As the Lingfeng sword shattered, Yi Lingxiao's body shook for a while, and then collapsed. That's right, it didn't fall, but collapsed just like a rotten statue collapsed. Long Chen's knife had shattered his body and wiped out his soul. Yi Lingxiao was dead. At this moment, there was an uproar in the audience. Yi Lingxiao was actually dead. An ancient Tianjiao who was so powerful that the Son of Destiny could only look up, actually died. Long Chen carried the keel evil moon on his shoulder, turned lazily, and looked at a figure in the distance. Are you solving it yourself, or shall I help you? Chapter 5034 Yi Lingxiao was killed. The audience was shocked, and Zhao Qingtian in the ring was even more frightened and shivered. He only now knew that Long Chen had been pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. And he and Yi Lingxiao originally thought they were here to kill pigs. Both of them had their own cards and felt that they could easily kill Long Chen. But for the sake of safety, the Yi and Zhao families decided to come in together, so that they could take care of each other. It should have been a foolproof strategy, but it ended up in such a bad situation. However, Yi Lingxiao played the strongest trump card, and even took his life, gathered Yi Lingxiao and all his strength, and was still cut by Long Chen. It has to be said that Yi Lingxiao is also unlucky. At this time, the power of Long Chen's dragon blood carries a trace of divine imperial prestige. This trace of imperial prestige suppressed Yi Lingfeng's power. The sword was killed with one blow. If Yi Lingxiao didn't die, Zhao Qingtian would join forces with him and fight with Long Chen, but now, when Yi Lingxiao died, Zhao Qingtian was suddenly scared. From ancient times to the present, Zhao Qingtian has always dominated his life and death. This is the first time in his life that he has faced death at such a close distance. At that moment, he was terrified. Standing there, he couldn't help shaking. Seeing this scene, the faces of Gui Jiu, Long Ziwei and others on the viewing platform were full of disdain. Just as Long Chen told them before, don't worship these so-called powerhouses, because in the face of death, it is not as good as you have the courage. Don't envy their origin, noble origin, no sense of crisis. When the crisis comes, they will not feel anything at all, and when they feel, death has come to them. Don't even envy that they can bully people everywhere, because the wicked have their own grind, and sooner or later, there will be even more wicked people to clean them up. Today, what Long Chen said to them has been fulfilled one by one. He is so powerful that a peerless genius like Zhao Qingtian is more afraid than anyone else when he faces death, because he has never faced it before. It seems that I still need to help you. Long Chen looked at Zhao Qingtian and shook his head and said, I have seen too many people like you. When you dominate other people's lives, you are arrogant and domineering, and you never take other people's lives seriously. When your life is dominated by others, you are more afraid than anyone else, and your so-called courage will be invisible. Ta-ta-ta. Long Chen carried the Keel Evil Moon on his shoulders and walked towards Zhao Qingtian step by step. I fought with you. As soon as Zhao Qingtian gritted his teeth, a blood-colored rune was formed in the Wheel of Destiny behind him. The rune turned out to be the word Earth. When the bloody rune appeared, Zhao Qingshan's bloodline power disappeared without a trace, and he actually sacrificed his bloodline. Buzz, suddenly, the Lus world in front of him disappeared and was absorbed by the runes behind Zhao Qingtan, and the ring appeared as it was. Give me death, the earth and the sky. Zhao Qingtian roared, the sword in his hand chopped out, and the wheel of destiny behind him was directly attached to the long sword by the force of this sword. This was Zhao Qingshan's fatal blow, and it was quite a stance that he succeeded in becoming a benevolent. However, in the face of Zhao Qingshan's life-threatening blow, Long Chen did not use the technique of opening the sky. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the air wave burst out, but it did not bring the terrifying vision that people imagined. This seems to be a blow that destroys the sky and destroys the earth. It seems to be a bit of a bluff. Boundary. Everyone was stunned. What was the situation? In the arena, Long Chen's Keel Evil Moon was holding Zhao Qingshan's long knife. At this time, Zhao Qingtian gritted his teeth and looked hideous. Long Chen looked at Zhao Qing'an and said, Your heart is full of fear, your anger, your hideousness, just to cover up your fear. You don't want to die, and you don't have the courage to die with me. You know, if you hit it with all your strength, you won't die and you'll be useless. So at the most critical moment you retain your strength, you are cowardly, you contradict yourself in the face of death, take off your fancy shell, you are a coward, a coward. The flesh on Zhao Qingshan's face trembled. He wanted to keep his anger and hideous face, but he couldn't do it. He was too scared. Boom! Long Chen's long knife pressed, Zhao Qingtian groaned, and Long Chen pressed his legs to the ground, his whole body trembled, and he felt that his bones were about to be crushed. Please, don't kill me. Zhao Qingshan's eyes were full of fear, and under the oppression of Long Chen, he said with difficulty. Zhao Qingtian knelt down and begged for mercy. At that moment, the powerhouses watching the battle all shook their heads and sighed, what kind of peerless genius? In the face of death, they are equally vulnerable, and those admirers of Zhao Qingtian are all very uncomfortable. Long Chen shook his head, his voice was cold. Obviously not, because of the exchange of positions. If it was me who was kneeling and begging for mercy, would you let me go? No, you will humiliate me as much as you want, torture me until I die in pain, and then show off with my corpse. Puff! Suddenly Zhao Qinggan spurted out a mouthful of blood, and Long Chen's long knife pressed down, like a mountain falling down. He finally couldn't bear it, and his bones were about to burst open. At this time, he couldn't do it if he wanted to beg for mercy, because as long as he opened his mouth and his breath leaked, the power of the Keel evil moon would instantly crush him. Outside the arena, the Zhao family's strong men were as anxious as ants on a hot pot, but they had no choice. When the arena was set up, in order to prevent anyone from repenting, a total of 4 keys were designed. Only 4 keys can be used at the same time to let go of the arena, and it takes a certain amount of time to let go of the arena. Obviously, it is too late to open the arena to save Zhao Qingtian. And even if they can open the arena in an instant, it is useless. Zhao Qingtian is in Long Chen's hands. He can kill Zhao Qingtian at any time. They have no time to rescue. Will Long Chen use Zhao Qingtian to coerce the Zhao family to open the barrier? Jiang Wang looked at Feng Fei. At this time, he had already admired Feng Fei, and perhaps she was the only one who knew Long Chen's strength best, and Long Chen also used his strength to prove how vicious Feng Fei's vision was. Feng Fei shook her head and said, Long Chen is going to kill Zhao Qington. The Zhao family's strongmen were anxious, and some people even threatened Long Chen and pleaded for mercy, but Long Chen ignored them at all. When the Zhao family's patriarch was anxious, he suddenly looked towards the outside of the ring, and suddenly he waved his hand, and all the Zhao family's strong men disappeared at the same time. Boom! At this moment, all the powerhouses of the Zhao family formed a huge encirclement, surrounding Qin Feng and a group of mercenaries. The head of the Long family shouted angrily, Long Chen, let Zhao Qingtian go, or they will all die. Chapter 50-35 The Zhao family's patriarchs surrounded Qin Feng and others to threaten Long Chen. At that moment, all the spectators present were stunned. It was too embarrassing for the Zhao family to do so. In the arena, 2-1 has never played against others. At this time, if he does something to his subordinates, will Long Chen let Zhao Qingtian go for a subordinate? Regarding the Zhao family's actions, Long Chen seemed to have expected it for a long time. He didn't even look at him and said lightly, if you don't do that, maybe only Zhao Qingtian will die. If you do that, you will kill more people in the Zhao family. Are you sure you do that? Stop talking nonsense, let Zhao Qingtian go or well kill them all. A strong man from the Zhao family shouted sharply. Long Chen smiled and he looked outside the arena. Did you see it? When death did not come to him, some people always looked aloof. Only when death befalls him will he become a pitiful creature, just like Zhao Qingtian in front of me. Shut up and let Zhao Qingtian go, otherwise we'll really do it. Seeing Zhao Qingtian vomiting blood again, the strong Zhao family couldn't help but feel anxious. They saw that Long Chen had no intention of letting go, and someone suggested, kill half of the mercenaries first and see if he will let go. Hands on, people looked at the Zhao family leader, and the Zhao family leader gritted his teeth. A bunch of idiots, you're going to have bad luck today. Seeing the order from the Zhao family leader, Qin Feng shook his head and said regretfully, unfortunately, a good show can't be seen. Kill, the strong Zhao family was furious, and someone immediately took action. Buzz, however, at the moment when they shot, all the mercenaries glowed, forming a huge space vortex. Millions of mercenaries, including Qin Feng, Gui Jiu, Long Ziwei and others, all disappeared. What? At that moment, the powerhouses of the 4 major families were all stunned, and even the faces of the 4 major family patriarchs changed. How is this possible? There is already a net of heaven and earth, and they can't be teleported out. The Zhao family's patriarch roared, but there was a look of fear in his eyes. Because only the 4 of them knew that the entire sky was full of sky nets, and even flies didn't even want to fly out. However, Qin Feng and others disappeared strangely. He didn't care about the life and death of Qin Feng and others. However, this meant a very terrifying thing, that is, if Long Chen came out of the ring, he might disappear at any time. The eyes of the patriarchs of the 4 gods were full of fear and anxiety. He counted thousands of dollars, but he did not calculate that Long Chen even had such a trump card. Boom! At this moment, There was an explosion in the arena. Zhao Qingtian finally couldn't resist Long Chen's power, the sword flew out, and the man lay on the ground. At this moment, the Qi Shiyue in Long Chen's hand slowly lifted up, and then stabbed Zhao Qingshan's back ruthlessly. Puff! The Qi Shiyue was incomparably sharp, not only piercing Zhao Qingshan's body, but also most of the blades sank into the floor tiles of the arena, pinning him to the ground. Qingtian. Seeing this scene, the powerful members of the Zhao family were stunned. Yi Lingxiao died too quickly and suddenly before, and the Yi family didn't even have time to grieve. But when he arrived at Zhao Qingtian, Long Chen gave the Zhao family enough face. He pulled out the Qi Shiyue from the ground, picked up Zhao Qingshan's body, and let him face the Zhao family's strong man. "Come on, wave to your family and say goodbye." Long Chen said lightly. "Long Chen, I want to smash your corpse into 10,000 pieces. Long Chen, you kill 1,000 knives, when you come out, I will cramp and peel you. Long Chen, you bastard, you come out to Lao Tzu will kill you." The Tianmai level powerhouses of the Long family roared, and they could not wait to rush into the ring and bite Long Chen to death. Zhao Qingnan was already dying when he suddenly turned back to the light, looked at his chest in horror and shouted, "Don't." Puff! The keel of the evil moon trembled, Zhao Qingtian burst open, turned into a blood fog, and a generation of Tianjiao was killed. Today, 2 of the 4 ancient arrogances have been killed by Long Chen. When the ancient and modern wars were fought, people saw the huge gap between the modern arrogance and the ancient arrogance. And Long Chen killed Zhao Qingtian and Yi Lingxiao in a row. People are all shocked. Long Chen is also a modern powerhouse. Why is the gap between the ancient powerhouse and Long Chen so huge? Long Chen killed Zhao Qingtian, and the powerful Zhao family wailed, followed by a burst of scolding. Even Long Chen's parents and ancestors scolded the 18th generation. In the face of everyone's scolding, Long Chen's face was cold. He looked at the Zhao family who was scolding happily, and a gloomy smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "You are so sad, then I'll do it well and send you to see Zhao Qinggan together." After that, Long Chen was in the limelight, holding the Keel Evil Moon in both hands, and above the Keel Evil Moon, the dragon pattern lit up and stabbed the center of the ring fiercely. What is he going to do? The head of the Long family was shocked. Boom! With a shocking sound, the Keel Evil Moon hole penetrated the arena, and the entire arena shattered and turned into powder, and then people saw that the enchantments on the arena disappeared one after another. What? The crowd was horrified. Long Chen said lightly, "The design of this arena is flawed. When using the altar to transform it, I only paid attention to the strength of the enchantment, but I forgot that no matter how many realms are arranged, once the core of the altar is destroyed, it will lose its meaning." Boom! When Long Chen finished speaking, the last enchantment burst into pieces, and at the moment when the enchantment burst, Long Chen's figure disappeared, and when it reappeared, he had come to the Zhao family camp. 7 in 1 inch Long Chen roared, and the keel in his hand was slashed by the evil moon. Those Zhao family powerhouses roared and resisted with all their strength. Puff puff. As a result, Long Chen's knife was fierce and fierce. Except for the Tianmai level powerhouse, everyone was chopped into powder in an instant. The Heavenly Saint powerhouse, who only has one heavenly vessel, blocked Long Chen's blow, as if he was hit by a warhammer in the chest, and he couldn't help spitting out a mouthful of blood. Even the Shuangmai Tiansheng powerhouse was shaken to the point of numbness in their arms, and they really saw the horror of Long Chen at this time. Puff! Long Chen slashed out with a knife and shot with his left hand. A Heavenly Saint powerhouse with a dragon vein was too late to escape, and was shot in the head by Long Chen with a palm, and his head exploded instantly, killing him immediately. Laugh. Immediately after the dragon bone evil moon stabbed in Long Chen's hand, a Heavenly Saint who had not recovered from the previous blow was cut into 2 pieces by Long Chen, and another Heavenly Saint powerhouse fell. Long Chen's action was too fast. In the blink of an eye, he killed 2 heavenly sages of the first lineage in a row, and the powerhouses of the 4 great families reacted, roaring and rushing towards Long Chen and surrounded him. It turned out that at the moment when the enchantment was broken, the powerhouses of the 4 major families were thinking about how to block the place and prevent Long Chen from escaping. They were predicting the escape route of Long Chen. They never thought that Long Chen did not escape, but plunged into the Zhao family with the most powerhouses, and the first shot was a violent attack. "Surround him, don't let him escape," a strong man roared. The powerhouses above the heavenly sage of the four great families rushed towards Long Chen like lightning. The matter has come to this point, and Long Chen must not be allowed to escape. Long Chen accepts his life. At this moment, a coquettish voice came, and what everyone didn't expect was that Feng Fei's swords were united, like a bolt of lightning rushing towards Long Chen. At the same time, Jiang Wuyang also killed him. He cooperated with Feng Fei, and the two attacked Long Chen together. The speed was so fast that he was even one step faster than the others. When Long Chen saw the two of them coming, he was stunned at first, and then he saw the angle at which they rushed over. He suddenly understood that these two people were fishing in troubled waters, blocking other people's attack routes, thus giving him a way to escape. Breaking through from their side, it is difficult for everyone to complete the encirclement. At that moment, Long Chen's heart warmed. The so-called superfluous is easy, but it is difficult to send charcoal in the snow. Feng Fei can do this step, and he can be regarded as a true friend. Just as Long Chen was about to rush towards Feng Fei, he didn't plan to run away, but breaking through from Feng Fei's point of view would allow him to take the initiative to the greatest extent and not be so passive. Puff! When Feng Fei saw Long Chen coming towards her, she was instantly ecstatic. Just as she was about to give way, she suddenly felt a tingling pain in her vest, and a long sword pierced through her back, revealing her chest. "Long Qihua, what are you doing?" Jiang Wang was furious when he saw the person who attacked Feng Fei. That person turned out to be Saint Long Qihua on the first day of the Long family. "Long Qihua, you too eat the inside and the outside. Do you think I can't see what you want to do? Get out." Long Qihua sneered. The long sword in his hand was pulled out of Feng Fei's body, and it fell at Jiang Wang. Boom! The long sword in Jiang Wang's hand shattered. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and he and Feng Fei fell from the air. It all happened so suddenly that Long Chen didn't react, and he didn't expect that Long Qihua would attack Jiang Fengfei. Long Qihua looked at Long Chen with a hideous smile on his face. "Little beast, I see how arrogant you are today." Long Qihua's long sword was like electricity, hitting directly in front of Long Chen. Jiang Wang was seriously injured, and Feng Fei didn't know whether to live or die. At that moment, Long Chen's head buzzed, and endless anger and killing intent rose. In his eyes, the black spots appeared again. At that moment, Long Chen seemed to be crazy. He roared, ignoring Long Qihua's long sword, and said that the keel evil moon stabbed forward. Long Qihua's sword has almost reached Long Chen's chest, and Long Chen is not dodging or evading the sword, stabbing with a long knife, with a posture of dying with him, scaring Long Qihua a jump. He has already taken the advantage, and it is impossible to exchange injuries with Long Chen. With a cold snort, he turned around and avoided Long Chen's sword. However, when he changed his moves, his waist suddenly tightened, and he was caught. A bone whip was entangled. Long Qihua was shocked, and at some point in time, there was another girl on the battlefield who was holding a flame keel whip and wearing 1,000 phoenix feather clothes. Emperor's blood seal, cross extinguishing god. At the moment when Hualinger temporarily trapped Long Qihua, Long Chen roared and slapped Long Qihua's chest with his left hand. Chapter 5036. Long Qihua was terrified. He was locked by Hualinger's flame keel whip, unable to move. Seeing that he couldn't dodge, he roared, and two dragon-shaped patterns converged on his chest. Those are his two celestial dragon chi, and they are also the strength of his life, and he will use this strength to shake Long Chen's palm. Puff! This palm was very strong, and the two dragon veins just touched Long Chen's cross blood talisman, and they burst into pieces. Long Chen's palm fell, Long Qihua's chest burst open, and the whole body was broken in two. What? The powerhouses who saw this scene were all frightened. Long Qihua was the first heavenly saint of the Long family. He possessed two heavenly veins and dragon energy. With all his strength, he was still unable to resist Long Chen's blow, and his chest was smashed by Long Chen's palm, and all the parts below the head and above the waist disappeared. A look of horror appeared on Long Qiwa's face. His head shook to try to escape, but he was caught by Long Chen. Don't want. Long Qihua shouted in horror, but Long Chen had a terrifying expression on his face. Puff! Long Qiwa's head was crushed by Long Chen. Puff! At the moment when Long Chen squeezed Long Qiwa's head, a sharp sword pierced from behind him. It was a sneak attack by Long Yaoting. He succeeded and shouted excitedly. However, after only half the call, a thunder spear pierced through his chest, only to see Lei Linger appear and kill him with one shot. Boom boom boom. However, there were too many enemies. Huolinger and Lei Linger just appeared and were surrounded by everyone. At this time, a long spear stabbed Long Chen. Long Chen did not evade, and even hit the spear directly with his body, and at the same time stabbed forward with the Keel Evil Moon in his hand, which also exchanged his life for his life. The spear is longer than the Keel Evil Moon, and the other party snorted coldly and ignored Long Chen's long knife. As a result, the long spear pierced into Long Chen's chest, and Long Chen's Keel Evil Moon also pierced the opponent's chest. It turned out that the Keel Evil Moon let go and pierced the opponent's body. The man's body was stiff, and Long Chen rushed forward, letting the spear pass through the body, and came to the other side, and pulled the Keel Evil Moon out of his body. But the man was already dead. Being penetrated by the Keel Evil Moon, the opponent's life was only in the Keel Evil Moon's thought, and the Keel Evil Moon was drawn out, and Long Chen slammed the knife against his chest. When shooting on top of the spear flew out like lightning. A strong man who was besieging Huolinger was pierced by the spear's shoulder. Huolinger seized the opportunity and blasted his head with a whip. Come on, let me see how many lives you have to fill. Long Chen roared. At this time he was like a murderer. He was covered in blood, but he didn't seem to feel pain. In his eyes, there was only killing. Puff puff puff. Long Chen held the Dragon Bone Evil Moon, and faced dozens of Tianmai-level powerhouses with swords and knives. In an instant, there were dozens of wounds on his body, but the other party was also beheaded by 7 people. Just like Long Qihua, he is also a Shuangmai Tianxing. Long Chen was covered in blood, killing the other party's nerves. Suddenly Long Chen looked at the Zhao family leader. Zhao family leader's heart froze, and suddenly felt bad, and he stepped back without thinking about it. Buzz! Suddenly, a vortex appeared in Long Chen's eyes, and a vortex also appeared behind the Zhao family leader. The Zhao family leader was not alert, so he retreated in, and someone screamed to remind him, but it was too late. After he entered the vortex, he appeared strangely beside Long Chen, and the Keel Shiyue in Long Chen's hand had already been raised high, waiting for him to appear. Dare to threaten me with my brother? Go to hell. Long Chen stopped drinking, and the evil moon fell from his hand. Puff! The poor Zhao clan leader, before he understood what was going on, was cut in half with a knife, and his cultivation was stunned, and he was killed in the first half of his life. It turned out that the 4 patriarchs, although they were all Shuangmai Tianxing level powerhouses, had not touched anyone for countless years because they had been in high positions all the year round. They have a strong momentum, and their actual combat capabilities have degenerated. At the beginning, they also locked Long Chen with momentum on the periphery, put pressure on Long Chen, and created opportunities for others. When the crisis came, he panicked all of a sudden. His first reaction was how to escape, not how to resist, and he was killed by Long Chen with one blow. Puff! Long Chen was hit with another sword and slashed on his shoulder. The dragon's blood armor was split open, and the bones were visible, and Long Chen cut off half of the man's head with a backhand. Kill! Long Chen's roar shook the sky, and the murderous aura filled the air, making countless people feel terrified. Don't fight alone, work together to kill him. Yi clan grower shouted. The Yi family leader was horrified to find that Long Chen could actually resist the full blow of Shuangmai Tianxing, which means that his true strength was no worse than that of Shuangmai Tianxing. The most terrifying thing is that the Yi family leader found that these people, in terms of combat experience, are not at the same level as Long Chen at all. If this goes on, all of them will be killed by Long Chen. As a result, as soon as the Yi family leader's voice fell, Long Chen had already rushed towards the Yi family leader like an arrow from the string. Protect the patriarch! The strong Yi family shouted in horror that the head of the Zhao family had been killed by Long Chen, and he must not let his family grow up by accident. The strong Yi family immediately retreated to protect the head of the Yi family. As a result, when they retreated, the original encirclement collapsed in an instant, and it was not good for the dragon family to grow up. In this way, if Long Chen escaped, no one could stop him. However, the head of the Long family looked in his eyes, anxious in his heart, but did not dare to say a word. He knew that Long Chen hated him so much that if he opened his mouth, he would be killed instantly. Long Qihua and Long Yaoting had already been beheaded by Long Chen. If only Long Chenxue was left in the Long family, and Long Qiangshi's attack was just a pretense, Long Chen's terror broke out and scared her. The strong people of the Yi family retreated, and the situation was in chaos. The Zhao family was in chaos because the patriarch was killed. The strong people of the Long family retreated. Seeing that the situation was not good, the strong Jiang family also retreated. At this time, they can't care about any plans. Today's Long Chen seems to be possessed by demons, and his eyes have been killed. Half of the Tianmai powerhouses of the 4 major families have been killed by Long Chen, and they are all killed. Come on, want to kill me? Go on. Long Chen shouted angrily. At this time, Long Chen was covered in blood, and the blood belonged to him and the enemy, and the black keel evil moon was dyed red. The viscous blood made the souls of countless people in the audience tremble. They looked at everything in front of them with horror, as if they were in a nightmare. It was obviously an elite match, but how did it turn into a killing feast in the end? The fair referee turned into a demon, and the disciples of the 4 major families were all dumbfounded when they looked at the broken limbs on the ground. Long Chen stabbed one by one, and the strong men who killed the 4 clans retreated one after another. Although they were still surrounded, no one dared to step forward. Long Chen turned his head to look at the crowd and looked for a circle. In the distance, a woman was waving to him. That person was none other than Feng Fei. At this time, her face was as pale as paper. Long Qiwa's sword had hurt her origin. Although it was not fatal, it made her lose her fighting power. Although Feng Fei's face was pale, she forced a smile to indicate that she was fine. Long Chen looked at Feng Fei, nodded and said, "If you have something to do, I will let the entire Tianhuang bury you." Boom! As soon as Long Chen's voice fell, the entire Long family trembled, and a path of divine light shot out, and tens of thousands of beams of light rose into the sky, covering the area where everyone was. Such a big tone. Today I will see if you can get out of here alive. At this moment, an old voice came, followed by countless figures in all directions. Chapter 5037. The eyes of Baiying Xue and the others were full of shock, because they were too familiar with Long Chen's voice. If it wasn't for the owner of this voice, all of them would have already been sacrificed to the Skyfire Origin Stone. Long Chen's voice is not very pleasant, but to their ears, it is more touching than the voice of nature, because this voice can bring people an endless sense of security. Whenever I hear this voice, I can save the day, and even the most difficult problems can be easily solved, as if all the difficulties in this world cannot knock down the owner of this voice. And when the experts of the White Dragon Clan shouted Long Chen's name, all the experts of the Dragon Clan present were also shocked, because every one of them knew this name. When the White Dragon Clan returned to the Dragon Realm, they brought back the news that caused a sensation in the entire Dragon Realm. Long Chen alone overturned the Skyfire Demon Realm and destroyed the Cold Sky Realm. Han Qianye under the blessing of strength. At that time, this news was spread throughout the entire Dragon Realm, and almost no one dared to believe it was true. After all, he had just advanced to immortality, and the Destiny Sun's destiny roulette was too late to awaken, and his strength improvement was extremely limited. It was absolutely impossible to be a half-step Emperor opponent. As the Domain Master, Han Qianye was blessed with the power of faith. Even in the face of the human sovereign, he had the power to fight, and he died in the hands of Long Chen. When the Bailong clan returned to the Dragon Realm, they not only brought back this heavy news, but also showed Long Chen's picture jade to all the Dragon Clan powerhouses. Only then did they learn that the Dilong clan did not die out. They were in the depths of the wilderness, and there were countless other dragon clans along with Dilong. This news excited the entire dragon realm. But this news within the dragon clan has caused disagreements. That is this kid really reliable? Is Long Chen lying to them? When someone raised this question, the Bailong clan immediately became angry. In order to save the Bailong clan, Long Chen fought bloody battles in the heaven and fire demon realm, killed all the elites of all clans, and forged a blood feud. However, some people also suggested that the probability of Long Chen acting is not high, but is this a scam by Pill Valley? You must know that the depths of the great wilderness are full of dangers, and the Longyu is only less than a day away from the outer edge of the great wilderness. There are also disciples who often go to the edge of the great wilderness for adventure and experience, and they know the horror of the great wilderness. Even in the outer periphery, some terrifying monsters are enough. They drink from a pot, so don't provoke them easily. If you venture deep into the wilderness, it is easy to wipe out the whole army. If all this is a scam of Pill Valley, and deliberately let them go deep into the wilderness to die, wouldn't even Long Chen be deceived? This doubt is not unreasonable, because regarding the great wilderness, the powerhouses of the dragon domain know its horror best. Because they are afraid of each other with the few terrifying monsters around the edge of the great wilderness, no conflict broke out. As long as the disciples go to practice, as long as they don't provoke those horrible existences, they will live in peace with each other. But the scope of activities of the disciples of Longyu is limited to a very small area outside. No matter how deep it is, they dare not enter. Fearing that even more terrifying existences would be brought out, even Longyu would be in danger of being destroyed. Therefore, they were excited at first when they heard the news that their ancestors were in the depths of the wilderness, but after calming down, they had to consider the authenticity of the news. This is out of rational concerns, but also out of practical considerations. After all, this is related to the future of the entire Longyu, so we have to be cautious, because once something goes wrong, no one can bear the responsibility. At this time, the powerhouses of the Dark Dragon clan and their henchmen appeared, and their hidden strength also exploded. Countless 8-veined and 9-veined heavenly saint powerhouses, as well as human emperors and half-step human emperors appeared one after another. Their number accounted for almost half of the top experts in Longyu, and the younger generation of Tianjiao experts accounted for 60% of all Tianjiao. At that moment, the entire Longyu was in turmoil. The Minglong clan and its henchmen only accounted for 1/10 of the proportion of the Longyu, but their strength had a strong tendency to overwhelm the entire Longyu. The entire dragon realm was on edge in an instant, and civil war was on the verge of breaking out. For a while, the powerful people in the dragon realm were divided into 3 factions. One was the rebels headed by the Nether Dragon clan, and the other was the Orthodox Dragon clan headed by the Blood Dragon clan. The potential is the same as fire and water, and there is almost a fight. In addition to these 2 factions, there is also a conservative faction. Although they hate the Dark Dragon clan, they always maintain their rationality and do not want the Dragon clan to fight among themselves, because once they fight internally, their vitality will be severely damaged, and there will be horrors in the wilderness on the border. The big monster, there is Pill Valley watching over it outside. Once the internal fighting starts, it may be the time when the dragon realm is destroyed. Therefore, thanks to the efforts of the conservatives, Longyu is temporarily in a stable state. Although the internal conflicts have not been resolved and bloody battles will break out at any time, at least they have won a little time for relaxation. However, under the calm surface of the entire Longyu, there is hidden danger of the infinite. If one fails, bloody battles will break out in the entire Longyu, with corpses everywhere. And the Minglong family also saw the weakness of Longyu. Obviously, at this critical moment, Longyu did not have the courage to fight with them, so the Minglong family can appear here swaggeringly. Regarding the sacrifice, he said that he didn't know it, and that everything was controlled by Brahma Pill Valley. Afterwards, they also expressed their regret. After all, the conflicts of the Dragon Clan should be resolved within the Dragon Clan. At the same time, they also expressed doubts about Long Chen's purpose. They believed that Long Chen had bad motives and had a trace of emperor's blood on his body. He deliberately sold it to the Bailong clan and wanted to take the opportunity to buy the entire Longyu and become his thug of Lingshao Academy. When the Dragon Clan powerhouses heard this sentence, they immediately sneered, saying that Long Chen is just a human race. Even if he has dragon blood, he is still a human race with dragon blood. How can the Dragon Clan let a small human race play with him? However, upon hearing this sentence, Bai Yingxian and the others immediately understood that the Dark Dragon Clan was taking the first step and strangled their ideas to death. The Nether Dragon Clan deliberately created contradictions, posing the idea of Long Chen wanting to subdue the entire dragon domain, thus making all the Dragon Clan resent Long Chen. Before Long Chen came, the seeds of hatred had already been planted. The White Dragon Clan secretly explained this to other Dragon Clan powerhouses. However, the Dragon Clan is proud. No matter how much favor Long Chen brought to the White Dragon Clan, he would never want to point fingers at the Great Dragon Clan. The most frightening thing is that all races have begun to doubt Long Chen's motives, and their impression of Long Chen has become worse and worse, which is precisely the trick of the Dark Dragon Clan. The Bailong clan saw it in their eyes, and they were anxious in their hearts. Although the Bailong clan had a high status in the Dragon Realm, because of Long Chen, they felt that the major dragon clans even began to be wary of them. For a while, Bai Yingxian and others people feel their hearts go cold, they feel so powerless. But today, when the Bailong clan shouted Long Chen's name, at that moment, the eyes of almost all the strong Dragon Clan members were full of alertness and indifference. Call, the golden chariot trembled, and Long Chen slowly walked out of the chariot, and then the entire Dragon Blood Legion appeared. Long Chen looked at the Nether Dragon Clan in the void, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. If you can join forces with the traitors and stand together, you might as well buy a piece of tofu and kill yourself. As soon as Long Chen's words came out, the faces of the powerhouses of the Dark Dragon Clan present turned cold, and their murderous intentions surged. However, Long Chen didn't give them a chance to speak and waved his hand. The Dragon Blood Legion obeys the order to kill all the Nether Dragon Clan. If anyone dares to stop, kill, no, forgiveness. Boom! Following Long Chen's order, the vision behind the Dragon Blood Warriors opened up, and the sound of endless dragon chant resounded through the heaven and earth. Qi and blood rushed to the sky, and the Dragon Blood Warriors rushed straight at the Minglong family like tigers coming out of their cages. Chapter 5038 In the enchantment, the 36 Shuangmai Tianxing of Brahma Pill Valley surrounded Long Chen, while the head of the Long family and others stood on the periphery, staring at Long Chen. The previous bloody battle, although the time was short, was extremely tragic. The Tianmai powerhouses of the major families were killed too many by Long Chen, but they were all Tianmai-level powerhouses, and the Zhao family leader was killed by Long Chen on the spot. As for the Long family, there were originally few strong Tianmai people. As soon as Long Qianxue left, he was left alone. He looked at Long Chen with panic and anger. He never thought that things would evolve to this point, and his hatred for Long Chen had reached a certain extreme. Long Chen was surrounded by everyone, watching everyone leave one by one. Lord Tianxi let him leave through his voice transmission. Long Chen could see that Lord Tianxi was very painful. He wanted to absorb Long Chen into the Long family, but he could only watch the Long family push him to the opposite side. Long Tianrui was the last to leave. Before she left, she said something, "If you promise me, I will try my best to protect you." Long Chen responded to her, "Go away, don't delay things." Long Tianrui took a deep look at Long Chen and left. "Long Chen, although you are stubborn, you have been against my Brahma Pill Valley several times, but the Lord God is merciful. If you are willing to invest in my Pill Valley and become the most loyal believer of Lord Brahma, you can save yourself from death and suffering." Boundless back to shore. Among the 36 people, the leading old man looked at Long Chen and said coldly. Although there is persuasion in his words, his tone is blunt, his face is indifferent, and there is no trace of mercy, as if he knew that Long Chen would not turn back and deliberately set a scene. "My direction is correct, why should I look back?" Long Chen said lightly, "Don't pretend to be a winner. Can't you see that I've been waiting for you all the time?" When Long Chen said this, the faces of the head of the Long family and others changed. They suddenly thought that Long Chen was in the ring and had the opportunity to kill Yi Lingxiao and Zhao Qingtian early in the morning, but they had been waiting for them to show their cards. He clearly has the strength to break the ring, but he is not in a hurry to get out of trouble. When he is besieged by everyone, he also has the opportunity to escape, but he does not escape. It seems that, as he said, he has been waiting for the appearance of the powerful Dangu. Thinking of this, the head of the Long family jumped wildly, and a bad premonition emerged spontaneously, and he shouted in horror, "Quick, kill him!" "Shut up, a Long Chen will scare you all like this. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by spreading it out?" The old man at the head drank coldly, and after scolding the head of the Long family, he turned to look at Long Chen. "Boy, don't pretend to be a winner. There used to be a young man who was as confident as you, and he died with us in hand. Do you know this?" Call. After the old man finished speaking, there was a dark iron shovel in his hand. When he saw the iron shovel, Long Chen was shocked, and the iron shovel was the one used by Mo Nian. "Is it?" At that moment, Long Chen's killing intent surged, and suddenly his feet moved, like a bolt of lightning rushing towards the old man. The old man sneered, "Put away your companion's relics." Call. The old man snorted coldly, and the black iron shovel rushed towards Long Chen like a bolt of lightning. Snapped. Seeing the shovel flying, Long Chen grabbed it and threw it into the chaotic space, but the moment he caught the shovel, the old man stepped back and 36 people formed seals at the same time. Buzz. 36 pillars of flame are intertwined, forming a prison, which is rapidly compressed against Long Chen. When the flame prison appeared, Long Chen suddenly felt a shudder in his soul. He was horrified to find that this prison could actually combine the power of 36 people. 36 Shuangmai Tiansheng's powers are fused together, and the power is enough to kill Long Chen thousands of times. The smaller the prison, the stronger the power. If you want to break through, you can only hit hard. Long Chen stopped drinking, his scales disappeared, and all the power of dragon blood gathered in the palm of his hand. At this critical moment, Long Chen did not dare to have any reservations. Emperor's blood seal, the cross to destroy the god. Long Chen shouted, igniting all the power of dragon blood. The palm of his hand flickered, and he slapped one of the pillars of flame with one palm. Seeing the resistance of Long Chen, an old man sneered, "The man's arm is a car, and it is beyond its own power." Boom! However, when Long Chen's palms slapped on the pillar of flame, their faces changed, crossed and smashed the pillar of flame with one palm. Puff! 36 Shuangmai heavenly saints spurted out a mouthful of blood at the same time, and their eyes were full of horror. This prison of imprisoned dragons is a high-level formation of Brahma Pill Valley. The strength of 36 people is combined into one. Even the three-lineage heavenly sage cannot shake it. Once trapped, he will die without a doubt. Since they practice this trick, they have never missed a shot, because to destroy any pillar of flame in the prison, they need to bear the power of 36 of them. Long Chen smashed a pillar of flame with one blow. The terrifying power was shared by 36 people, but everyone vomited blood. This power was completely beyond their imagination. What they didn't know was that although Long Chen's bloodline was strong, and the cross-destroyer god was domineering, they couldn't destroy their formation at all. But in Long Chen's palm, the trace of Emperor Qi that came with it was the culprit that destroyed the entire array. Unfortunately, they didn't know it, and Long Chen was confused. One blow shattered the pillar of flame, Long Chen broke out of the cage, and the keel Shiyue lifted up and slashed at one of them. 7 in 1. The man snorted coldly, his hands formed seals, and a flame shield appeared in front of him. As soon as the flame shield came out, it was superimposed, and 36 lines were superimposed in an instant. He only condensed one, and the rest belonged to others. Strength helped him stack up. Boom! With a loud bang, the flame shield shattered, and Long Chen's blade stopped 3 inches from the old man's forehead. 36 shields were left, and only the last one remained. Looking at the blade in front of him, the old man was terrified. Sweat is down. Fire demon. At this time, the headed old man slammed, and the others changed their printing methods. The shield in front of the old man in front of Long Chen suddenly burst open, and a mighty force rushed out. Long Chen snorted and was shocked. Fly out. The power of the 36 people linked together can't be resisted at all. Long Chen's heart is cold, and at this time, the 36 people are sealed at the same time. The flames between the heaven and the earth are surging, and the nets of flames are coming from all directions. Does not give Long Chen any retreat at all. Ignorance and idiot, since you are begging for death with all your heart, this old man will fulfill you. The old man shouted, and then the printing method changed, and 36 people recited the scriptures at the same time. When he heard the sound of chanting, Long Chen's body trembled violently. Chapter 50:39 Long Chen and the 36 strong men competed several times. He was shocked to find that the 36 people did not know what method they used. The power of the 36 people was integrated, and there was no flaw. That is to say, no matter who he attacks, he will be attacked by the power of 36 people. It is the first time that Long Chen has encountered such a terrifying formation. The connection between them is seamless, even more skillful and terrifying than the cooperation of the Dragon Blood warriors. Later, when Long Chen's spiritual light appeared, he suddenly understood. The smooth connection of their powers must be related to the power of Brahma's belief. Only by using the power of Brahma as a medium can there be no flaws. But if you know it, you know that Long Chen has no way to crack it. If Long Chen can cast the Dragon Blood Cross to destroy God again, he may be able to break their formation. But with the blow just now, Long Chen directly used up the power of Dragon Blood. Although he could still use Purple Blood and Colorful Supreme Blood, Long Chen believed that these two moves would not threaten them. At this time, Long Chen has no choice. According to Chen Kuan-ding, if he can't beat him and withdraw, it can keep him away at any time. But he was unwilling to leave him like this. Just when he was at a loss, the other party began to recite the scriptures, and the scriptures were the great Brahma scriptures. The great Brahma Sutra resounded through the heavens and the earth, and the power of flames between the heavens and the earth was summoned, and the great formation became stronger and stronger, and the whole world became a world of flames. Play a big one. Seeing the net of flames, covering the sky and the sun, overlapping and overlapping, Long Chen did not rush out. He opened his hands, and a flaming lotus flower emerged in his hands. The lotus flower appeared, the space was distorted in a large area, and the flames in the sky began to beat uneasily. Even the powerhouses of Pill Valley couldn't help but be moved when they saw the flame lotus in Long Chen's hands. "What is that?" someone exclaimed. "Lunar fire. No, there is also the fire of the sun. That white flame is the ice soul divine flame." The flames in Long Chen's hands, thousands of Rui Kai, of which the 3 flames are the most blazing, are crazily intertwined in the flame lotus, and the lotus is rapidly magnifying. How is that possible? How could he control so many fires in the sky? At this moment, the leader also had a shocked expression on his face. Long Chen held a flaming lotus, his face was serious, and he opened his mouth to recite. The sacred and solemn sound of chanting resounded through the heavens and the earth, and even overshadowed their chanting in an instant. Buzz. When the sound of the chanting sounded, the power of all the flames between heaven and earth suddenly stagnated, and then rushed to Long Chen's flaming lotus like a sea of rivers. Those scattered flame powers, like soldiers on the battlefield, suddenly heard the command of the commander, no longer ignored the call of those Pill Valley powerhouses, and madly rushed to the flame lotus in Long Chen's hands. Buzzing! All the power of flames between heaven and earth was absorbed by Long Chen's flame lotus, and the flame lotus skyrocketed thousands of miles in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. Even the web of flames condensed by the Shuangmai heavenly saints lost control, flew towards the flame lotus, and was swallowed by the flame lotus. "What? Our technique?" The powerhouses of Brahma Pill Valley exclaimed. They had never seen such a situation before. Boom, boom, boom. However, when 16 of those flame nets were swallowed, Long Chen suddenly felt a shudder in his soul, and at the same time, Hualinger exclaimed in his mind, Brother Longchen, release it quickly, or it will get out of control, and I will not be able to protect you. Longchen also felt bad. He wanted to absorb all the magical powers of everyone, but the power of this move was beyond his imagination. Longchen's big hand slammed down, and the huge flame lotus fell to the ground. Before the lotus flower erupted, Huolinger turned into a giant flame dragon and wrapped Longchen, and the strong men of Brahma Pill Valley exclaimed and formed seals, and the remaining flame nets in the void instantly turned into a stream. A huge shield of flames enveloped them. Boom! With a loud bang, everything in front of him turned into nothingness, and Huolinger, who protected Longchen, was torn apart in an instant and turned into a rune in the sky. Shichichi! Longchen was pulled by a terrifying force, and Longchen was almost torn apart. His body was full of wounds, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and he flew into the sky involuntarily. At that moment, the void was disillusioned, the time was bright and sometimes dark, the fragments of time and space were flying, the runes of the avenue were agitated, and the entire building of the Long family, hundreds of millions of miles, turned into powder in an instant. Why is this trick so terrifying? Longchen was horrified, his bones were cracked and he almost burst open. If Huolinger hadn't helped him resist the strongest impact, he might have been blown to death by his own move, which he had never thought of before. The skynets you absorbed, with their natal runes attached, exploded in an instant when the Een, the sun, and the fire of the ice soul merged with them. With your current power and Huolinger's power, you can't exert their true power, but their natal runes are different. With the blessing of Tianmai Dragon Chi, their power will be enhanced to the extreme in an instant. Qian Kunding explained. It turned out that Longchen had never known how terrifying the flames in the top 10 of the Skyfire ranking were, because Huolinger's strength was limited and they had not exerted their due power. The three kinds of flames are like dry wood, the power of Longchen and Huolinger, and at most they can be regarded as sparks. Although they can also be ignited, they can only ignite a small part. However, the natal runes of these Tianmai powerhouses are equivalent to pouring a layer of oil on these dry wood, and a little spark will explode in an instant. After Longchen understood this, he couldn't help but feel a lingering fear. He planned to devour all their magical powers. If he did, it would be equivalent to perishing with them. Boom! After one blow, the universe changed color and the sky collapsed. Outside the Long family, Long Tianrui, Long Qianxue, Lord Tianxi, Feng Fei, and Jiang Wang looked forward with horror. After they were teleported out, they approached the dragon's house for the first time. They wanted to see the final result, but before they reached the outside of the dragon's house, they saw a burst of glare like the sun burst. They saw with their own eyes that the great formation that covered the sky burst into pieces, and the entire Long family was destroyed in an instant. Even across the endless distance, when Gangfeng came to them, they could still feel the suffocating power and felt that their souls would be torn apart. Long Qianxue was the first to rush out, followed by Lord Tianxi. Their hearts were extremely painful. The Long family was ruined like this. They should take a closer look. When they came to the Long family realm, it was almost impossible to tell where it was. When they came to the core of the battlefield, they were shocked to find that, except for Long Chen above the void, all the human breath had disappeared. With one blow, everyone was destroyed, leaving no bones. How so? Looking at the scene in front of her, Long Qianxue suddenly burst into tears. Chapter 50-40 The dust settled, the vision gradually recovered, and a giant pit appeared on the ground. The giant pit was like a huge bowl. The soil and ore were burned into solids by the terrifying high temperature, such as iron plates and glass. Countless strong men came one after another. When they saw this picture, they felt endless fear. They looked at the void, the figure with broken clothes and a little embarrassed, couldn't help trembling all over. This is the token of the patriarch. A disciple of the Yi family boldly ran into the core of the battlefield and took out a fragment of a weapon. Looking at the fragment, he couldn't help crying. The other disciples also entered the battlefield one after another, looking for the relics of the seniors of various ethnic groups. At first, the disciples did not believe that they were dead, but seeing those relics, they had to accept the cruel reality. Jiang Wang looked at the scene in front of him, his eyes were full of pain. He looked at Feng Fei, and Feng Fei also looked at him. Both of them had expressions of pity and helplessness on their faces. The most helpless is Feng Fei. She clearly knows that Long Chen can't be provoked, and also knows that those who have always been enemies with him will not end well. But the enemy of Long Chen this time is too strong, so powerful that it is despairing. Feng Fei believes that if Long Chen can retreat, it is already the biggest victory. However, she still did not expect that Long Chen could be so strong that he did not retreat. Not only did he not retreat, but he also did not give the enemy a chance to retreat. Except for Long Chen Xue, all the senior leaders of the four gods were wiped out. This was a devastating blow to the four gods. Hearing Long Qiangshi's wailing in her ears, Feng Fei couldn't help but burst into tears. Why? Why do you have to go to this point to regret it? For a time, the disciples of the four gods wailed in pain, but no one dared to seek revenge against Long Chen, not even looking at him. It's not that they clearly distinguish right from wrong, nor that they understand Long Chen, because Long Chen is so powerful that they fear them, and they dare not go to Long Chen to take revenge. For a while, there was a lot of crying on the battlefield, especially the disciples of the Long family who cried the worst. Seeing that the prosperous Long family was now in ruins, their hearts were cut like a knife. Long Chen stood on the top of the void, motionless, and stood for a full time of incense before his body trembled slightly. Before, it wasn't that he didn't want to move, but that he couldn't move. His body was hurt so badly. A stick of incense passed, and Long Chen's body was finally able to move. However, at this time, Long Chen could no longer fight, even if he still had the power of purple blood and the power of colorful supreme blood in his body, but his body had already been cannot afford toss. Emon Yen, I am also avenging you. Long Chen sighed, and there was an extra shovel in his hand. It was Emon Yen's thing. Seeing things and people, I couldn't help but feel heartache. And many more. Long Chen suddenly found that there was a line of small characters on the shovel. Murder, Master Emon Yen, I # you uncle. It was only then that Long Chen noticed that although the shovel was exactly the same as that used by Emon Yen, the aura was slightly different, and when he saw the word again, he understood at once. After Emon Yen took revenge on the Brahma Pill Valley, he deliberately left a token for fear that the other party did not know who did it, and these idiots used this token to deceive him. Long Chen was dumbfounded for a while. This was a misunderstanding, and as a result, this misunderstanding almost made Long Chen die with them. Damn, if I die because of this, do you have to apologize to Emon Yen? Long Chen couldn't help scolding in his heart. At the same time, he also blamed himself for being too stupid to not notice this detail. Long Chen looked around, and he saw Long Tianrui who had been staring at him at a glance. Long Chen said, Want to avenge them? Long Tianrui looked at Long Chen, but shook his head and said expressionlessly, right and wrong have no meaning to me. The meaning of my life is to find a strong man and put my talent handed down. All the people of the same era as me have died. The people of the Long family mean little to me, not to mention, you have done nothing wrong. Hearing what Long Tianrui said, Long Chen was stunned for a moment. He had never been able to understand Long Tianrui, but her words today made him feel that Long Tianrui also seemed to be a very pitiful person. As she said, all the people she knew are dead. The meaning of her life is inheritance. Perhaps after inheritance, she will no longer have a goal. After she has no goal, she is likely to choose dying, because living without a purpose is a pain. Long Chen thought about how bad his attitude was towards her before, and suddenly felt ashamed. Just as he was about to speak, suddenly a vast breath came, and Long Chen was taken aback. Boom! Immediately afterwards, a loud noise came, the earth burst open, and above the void, the runes of the avenue circulated, and the three dragon shadows swirled. The ancestors are out, Long Chen runs. Suddenly, the exclamation of Lord Tianxi came from Long Chen's mind. Buzz! However, before Long Chen had any action, a burly old man with white beard and white hair appeared above the void. At that moment, Long Chen was shocked to find that he could not move. Not only he can't move, but everyone present can't move. Long Chen is horrified. Why is the coercion of the ancestor of the Long family so terrifying? The ancestor of the Long family has a majestic face, a broad nose and a square mouth. At first glance, he is the kind of person with a strong temperament. When he saw the surrounding scene, he roared, "What exactly is going on?" The roar of the ancestor of the Long family shocked everyone's heads, and countless people fainted. It turns out that the ancestors of the Long family have been retreating for the past few years to impact the 3 meridian inborn, and in recent years, he has touched the threshold of the 3rd heaven meridian dragon energy. You must know that the 3-pulse Tianxing sounds like there is only one more heavenly vein than the double-pulse Tianxing, but the strength between the two is far away, and there is a dimensional gap. Because the 3 celestial veins come together, they will form the celestial vein dragon diagram, which is a kind of heavenly vein vision. The amount cannot be calculated. Originally, the ancestor of the Long family was about to succeed some time ago, but when Long Zhantian arrived and killed the dragon family, he had to mediate. Later, he retreated again and he was afraid of being interrupted again, so he gave an order directly, as long as the Long family did not have the power of destruction, don't disturb him. Now, he finally condensed 3 dragon veins and rushed out of the retreat, only to find that the dragon family has been in ruins. How can he not be angry? He wanted to question the head of the Long family, but found that the head of the Long family was gone, and so was Long Qihua. He saw Long Qianxue, who was still crying at a glance. Without further ado, when he came to Long Qianxue, he placed a finger on Long Qiangshu's forehead to check directly what happened. The ancestor of the Long family turned his head to look at Long Chen. At that moment, the space around Long Chen instantly solidified and squeezed towards him crazily. "Death to me!" The ancestor of the Long family roared and slapped Long Chen with a palm. Chapter 5041 Ancestor. When the ancestor of the Long family made his move, both Long Qianxue and Lord Tianxi exclaimed. They didn't expect that the ancestor didn't even think about it, and he didn't even ask, and he immediately started killing people. At this time, Long Chen was crushed by the ancestors of the Long family's 3 veins Tianwei, unable to move, and could only be beaten to death. The sudden change made Feng Fei and Jiang Wang also stunned. The strength of Long Chen is so terrifying. If the Long family wanted to kill Long Chen before, perhaps they did not know Long Chen's strength, but the ancestor of the Long family had already seen everything through Long Qiangshu's memory, and even killed Long Chen. You must know that with Long Chen's potential, no one will be willing to put him to death no matter how wrong he has made. Besides, Long Chen is not wrong. If someone kills him, can't he fight back? The Long family has suffered heavy losses, and it is meaningless to kill Long Chen again. The most correct way is to put the blame on the dead, forgive Long Chen's killing, and understand and comfort him from Long Chen's point of view. Only in this way can the heart of Long Chen be restored. Although the top of the Long family is destroyed, there are 2 pillars of the new generation, Long Chen and Long Tianru. Who will the Long family be afraid of? Now that Long Chen has not grown up, he can already kill Shuangmai Tianxing hard. If he waits for him to become immortal, I am afraid that Sanmai Tianxing may not be his opponent, right? No one would have thought that the ancestors of the Long family would take action against Long Chen in a fit of rage. Even Lord Tianxi could not understand this. This was not in line with the development interests of the Long family. Boom, everyone didn't react. The ancestor of the Long family had already slapped Long Chen's chest. However, at this time, a light curtain enveloped Long Chen. The light curtain was shaped like an ancient bronze cauldron. Above the ancient cauldron, the sun the moon moves, the stars move, and as soon as it appears, the whole world is poured with divine power, and it becomes sacred and solemn in an instant. The ancestor of the Long family took a palm, and was blocked by the light curtain, a blow that contained all the power of the 3-line powerhouse, but only made the light curtain tremble slightly. Chen Kuan-ding finally took action, without any anger, and easily blocked the attack of the ancestor of the Long family. The power of the ancestor of the Long family was completely absorbed by the Chen Kuan-ding. At that moment, the expression of the ancestor of the Long family changed. Snapped, suddenly, a big hand protruded from the light curtain, and above the palm, the colorful cross flowed, and slapped him in the face. With a loud bang, blood splattered, half of the face of the ancestor of the Long family burst open, and the person was drawn and flew out. What? People were stunned that Long Chen still had a whole card. When the ancestor of the Long family stood firm, people exclaimed, only to see the ancestor of the Long family half of his face disappeared, his flesh and blood turned out, and on his face, a colorful cross was printed. The ancestors of the family were also dizzy by Long Chen's sudden slap. Long Chen looked at the ancestor of the Long family coldly and said, "As a member of the Long family, I have the blood of the dragon family flowing in my body, and all the resources of the Long family have my share, because that is the ancestors of the Long family. Left to us. I come to take back what belongs to me. I don't owe the Long family anything, but in my heart, I still hope that the Long family will treat me well. After all, we are a family, and I will repay the Long family." And then? "I would have my heart to the bright moon, but the bright moon illuminates the ditch. From bottom to top, you are all targeting me, plotting against me, wishing to drain my flesh and blood and drain all the value in me. Coveted my treasure and gave me to Brahma Pill Valley as a gift. If I fall into the hands of Brahma Pill Valley, I will definitely not be able to survive or die. The Long family is really kind to me." Long Chen's words, word by word, are filled with icy killing intent. Listening to people's ears makes people tremble. Everyone can feel Long Chen's bloody hatred. Even the ancestor of the Long family, the so-called leader of the Long family, after learning all the facts, he directly killed me regardless of right and wrong. I know that you are not hate, you are afraid, because of greed, your anger is faked, you eventually, or go the same way as them. I want to take my treasures as my own, I want to kill me and give Brahma Pill Valley an account. When the time comes, I have treasures to rely on, and even if I find Brahma Pill Valley, I can fight against my father, right? Long Chen looked at the old ancestor of the Long family with a gloomy face. He continued, "After a series of battles, I've reached the point where I've run out of fuel, and I've lost the chance to kill you. But it doesn't matter, I marked your face, and this mark will never go away unless you cut off your head. I, Long Chen, are not a saint. On the contrary, I am very vengeful. After I am promoted to immortality, I will come back and take your head in person. I hope you can keep it safe. However, if my father comes back early, when he learns that you treat his son like this, I don't think I need to do anything." Long Chen's remarks made the ancestor of the Long family startled and angry, his face changed, and all he thought in his heart was said by Long Chen. He was really angry at first, but when he learned that Qiankuan Ding, one of the top 10 chaotic artifacts, was in the underground treasure house of the Long family, at that moment, greed broke out. He only had one purpose, and that was to take Qiankuan Ding as his own. Even, for the sake of the Qiankuan cauldron, he didn't even want the Long family, so he suddenly killed the killer, but unfortunately, he miscalculated. Long Chen patted the dust on his body and slightly tidied up his tattered clothes to make himself look a little neater. His eyes turned to Long Tianrui, Feng Fei, Jiang Wuliang, Lord Tianxi, Long Qianshuedol. The green hills do not change, the green waters will flow. Everyone, see you in the rivers and lakes in the future. I hope we can have a good time over the wine, instead of seeing each other in battle, and say goodbye. After Long Chen finished speaking, his figure quickly dimmed. Where to escape? The ancestor of the Long family was anxious and angry. With the long sword in his hand, he struck out with one sword. Boom! The void was penetrated by a giant hole, and the space debris in the giant hole fluttered, revealing a pitch-black world. The pitch-black world was like the mouth of a demon, madly swallowing everything between heaven and earth. The black hole sucks in. The attack of the ancestor of the Long family was extremely terrifying, and people saw the horror of the Sanmai heavenly sage. Unfortunately, it is meaningless to let this blow be terrifying, because Qiankuan cauldron has disappeared with Long Chen. The ancestor of the Long family was trembling with anger, but there was nothing he could do. Long Tianrui looked at the ancestor of the Long family and said lightly, The Long family has fallen, and the stupid donkey can be the ancestor. What did you say? The ancestor of the Long family roared. Long Tianrui said blankly, Are you so stupid that your ears don't work? You. The ancestor of the Long family was furious and pointed his long sword at Long Tianrui. Long Tianrui said coldly, You can't kill Long Chen and you can't kill me either. You are the ancestor of the Long family, but in front of me, you are nothing, so do it yourself. After Long Tianrui finished speaking, he turned and walked towards the periphery of Tianhuang. Lord Tianxi was shocked. Tianrui, what are you doing? Such a family ruled by such a fool, what's the point of staying here? Do you become stupid with him? I'm going to the depths of Emperor Heaven to find other dragon family inheritances. Long Tianrui responded, and then disappeared, leaving everyone standing there in astonishment. Chapter 50-42 The figure of Long Tianrui disappeared. The eyes of the disciples of the Long family were gloomy. The Long family had undergone great changes. The prosperity of the past was like a dream, and now this beautiful dream has awakened, as if everything in front of them is the reality. Long Chen left, leaving the Long family in ruins. Fortunately, the ancestor of the Long family was still there. Without him, the Tianhuang Long family would definitely be annexed by several nearby forces. Long Tianrui also left. Although she was still expressionless when she left, everyone could see that she hated the Long family in her heart. A grand elite competition ended with the annihilation of the two ancient geniuses, the four patriarchs, and all the powerhouses of the heavenly veins. People seemed to be in a nightmare and hoped to wake up as soon as possible. Let's go. Jiang Wang let out a powerless sigh and said to Feng Fei, The Jiang family is unfortunate and lucky at the same time. At least he is still alive. Thinking about it now, he can't help but be afraid for a while. Because he concealed one thing from Feng Fei, that is, the head of the Jiang family once approached him in private and cryptically stated that he would let him enter the ring together and kill Long Chen with Yi Zhao and the others. He finally refused, on the one hand because of Feng Fei's warning, on the other hand, he also has his own pride. If he wants to kill someone, he will never use conspiracy, let alone join forces with others. However, because of his pride, he saved his life, and at the same time planted a beautiful seed for the future of the Jiang family. He and Feng Fei sacrificed their lives to save Long Chen, and Long Chen saw it in his eyes. Long Chen will definitely remember this love. They do not ask Long Chen to repay them in the future. Take revenge on the Jiang family. But the Long family, Yi family, and Zhao family are different. Long Chen said that the head of the ancestor of the Long family will be taken by him in the future. And although the Yi family and Zhao family, Long Chen may not necessarily come to the door to take revenge, if by chance he meets these two families, then you don't have to think about it, you will kill them easily. From this point of view, the loss of the Jiang family was minimal. Of course, this was due to Feng Fei's reminder and Jiang Wuwang's own wisdom. Jiang Wuyang and Feng Fei left with the Jiang family disciples. Before leaving, they did not forget to say hello to Lord Tianxi. In their eyes, Lord Tianxi is a real intelligent powerhouse. Unfortunately, there is wisdom in the air. Without real power, without any meaning. After Jiang Wang and Feng Fei left, the Yi family and the Zhao family had no idea, but the Long family already had this kind of virtue. Do you still expect them to make up their minds? Looking at the appearance of the ancestors of the Long family, who was shocked and angry, he knew that he was also stunned now, and he couldn't take care of himself, and he had no time to make up their minds. The strong Yi family and Zhao family also said goodbye to the Long family. When they left the Long family, they remembered how prosperous the Long family was when they first came, and they were full of famous mountains and rivers, Qianglu and Yu. But now, there are scars everywhere, and Long Chen's blow directly destroyed most of the world. The destructive power left in the world will not dissipate for thousands of years. In other words, in these thousands of years, this place will have no grass and incomplete laws, and it will be impossible to cultivate at all, let alone live. When I think of Long Chen, who has the same cultivation as them, but can use his own strength to slaughter the strongest masters of the four Protoss, and destroy the foundation of the Long family for countless years, it is terrifying to think about it. At the same time, some people were afraid for a while because many of them had ridiculed Long Chen and looked down on Long Chen. Looking back now, how stupid they were. In terms of strength, they were not even worthy of giving Long Chen shoes. When Feng Fei and Long Wang came to the border of Tianhuang and looked back at the Long family, they couldn't help but sigh. You are right, in front of Long Chen, no one can claim to be a genius. The gap is too big. Feng Fei looked at Jiang Wang and found that he seemed to have aged a lot in an instant, and the high spirits in his eyes had disappeared. Feng Fei suddenly smiled. Actually, everyone is the protagonist in their own world. There is no need for anything. They must fight and win. Thinking from another angle, with Yi Lingxiao and Zhao Qingtian, did we win? Compared with the other three, does our Jiang family also win? As a spectator, we enjoyed an unprecedented war in prosperous times. It was a wonderful moment that may not have occurred for tens of thousands of years. We caught up with it. Should we be glad? Feng Fei can understand Jiang Wang's mood very well, because at the beginning she also did this, because she once stood shoulder to shoulder with Long Chen, and she was the most unwilling to be thrown away by Long Chen. But now she has realized another kind of life. From now on, her life is full of sunshine, and she no longer resents and complains, and she will not be jealous and beaten. Therefore, her cultivation base will advance by leaps and bounds. Jiang Wang was stunned for a moment. He's also a very smart person. He knew it at a bit, and then he smiled. You are so right, I want you to learn. Hey, if you want, I can teach you how to be a qualified spectator. However, I want to remind you that you can worship Long Chen, but you must maintain a certain degree. Feng Fei suddenly became serious. What? Jiang Wang was stunned. Feng Fei suddenly laughed mischievously. There are 2 points. 1, Long Chen is the man I like, you can't rob me, and 2, he doesn't like men. Jiang Wang. Feng Fei smiled coquettishly for a while, then with such a big wave, she took all the strong men of the Jiang family and left in a mighty manner, as if she had just won a victory. Buzz, the void was twisted, and Long Chen's figure emerged. Just after it emerged, Long Chen spurted out a mouthful of blood, and his face was pale for a moment, as if all the blood in his body had been drained. How can the power of Sanmai Tianxing be so terrifying? Even you can't resist it? Long Chen looked horrified. Before, he was hit by the ancestor of the Long family. Although the palm was blocked by Qingkuan Cauldron, there was still a trace of power that penetrated into Long Chen's body. In order not to show his embarrassment, Long Chen has been holding on, and now that he has left the Long family, Long Chen can no longer hold on, and his body is as painful as fire. There are 3 violent forces raging wildly, and it seems that Long Chen is going to explode. Long Chen's body is already riddled with holes, and he can't stand such a toss. It's not that I can't stop it, but I deliberately let it in, on the one hand, to let you understand the gap between the 3-pulse Heavenly Sage and the double-pulse Heavenly Sage. On the other hand, with the help of Destiny Shunqi and Jiuli Pagoda, your strength has improved too fast. Although Shunqi and Jiuli Pagoda are both treasures, such a rapid improvement will eventually leave flaws. I have sealed the purest part of these 3 heavenly veins in your body, and now I will teach you to run the power of Kuan, and use your body as a furnace to refine it. After Qiankuan Ding finished speaking, the divine light fell, completely covering Long Chen. Chapter 50-43 Long Chen's palms were sealed, and the divine light circulated all over his body. Qiankuan Ding was suspended on the top of Long Chen's head, slowly rotating, and the aura of the avenue wrapped Long Chen heavily. Qiankuan Cauldron said, "The great Tao of the world has the same goal in different ways, whether it is alchemy or body training, it is the same in the end. In the past, when you devoured medicinal herbs, you used the Dragon Clan's divine power of swallowing the sky and eating the earth. Although this supernatural power is domineering, it is a kind of swallowing the dates wholeheartedly. You fart." When Qiankuan Ding said this, the Keel Evil Moon was furious. Evil Moon, Long Chen stopped drinking. Why is this guy so sensitive now? Qiankuan Ding just made a comment, it immediately became unhappy. It seemed that Long Chen was unhappy, and the Keel evil moon did not continue to speak, but obviously it was a little unconvinced. Because Long Chen's magical power of swallowing the sky and eating the earth was taught by it, and this trick is also the secret of the dark evil dragon family. Some people point fingers at it, and it is of course not happy. Qianquan Cauldron was not angry either. It continued, devouring is different from refining. A Godzun Dan is different from a bunch of medicinal materials for refining Shinzun Dan. If you devour the medicinal materials and get the same effect as the medicinal pills, then you don't need to spend so much effort to concoct pills. Hearing what Qinquan Ding said, Long Chen nodded secretly, and Keel Shiyue also seemed to think that Qinquan Ding was right and did not refute it. Because you are about to enter the immortal realm, your cultivation method needs to be modified, but this modification is based on the magical power of swallowing the sky and eating the earth. You have dragon blood, and you have practiced the dragon god body refining technique. This is a unique advantage. The most important thing is that your emperor's blood seal has begun to show signs of awakening, so you have the conditions to carry out transformation. Qinquan Ding said. How to change the law? Long Chen hurriedly asked. It is to use the body as the furnace and the blood as the fire to refine all the energy that enters the body. This energy not only refers to the power of the medicine pill, but also the energy that invades your body. Qinquan Ding said. Is this why you deliberately let the power of the ancestor of the Long family enter my body? Long Chen suddenly realized. Qinquan Ding said, yes, this is a kind of assessment. If you don't practice right, you can't refine this powerful dragon energy of the sky. If you can refine it, it means you're done. Get ready and listen to my chanting. As a furnace, always look at all things, blood as fire, smelt invisible 6 elements, bones as firewood. The voice of Qinquan Ding reverberated in Long Chen's mind. As it chanted, the runes on Qinquan Ding lit up, dragon scales appeared around Long Chen, and the runes on Qinquan Ding were projected on Long Chen's body. Long Chen suddenly felt a flame rising in his chest. Although the power of dragon blood was almost exhausted, when it started to burn, there were signs of rapid recovery. Long Chen was taken aback at first, and then he realized that the power of dragon blood at this time is not from the outside, but burns from the inside. This is a wonderful way of combining cultivation and healing. Taking the body as the furnace, the blood as the fire, the bones as the firewood, the meridians as the guide, and controlling the rhythm to replace the power of the soul, this is a brand new refining method, which Long Chen has never touched before. However, in the soul of Long Chen, there is the memory of Emperor Dan, although it is the first time to explore, but he is strong enough. Coupled with the guidance of Qinquan Cauldron, he quickly grasped the key points. Buzzing. The 3 groups of energy in Long Chen's body were constantly shaking, and the fire of dragon blood began to surround them. They felt a little uneasy and began to struggle more and more strongly. However, under the control of Qinquan Cauldron, their power is limited, and soon Long Chen's dragon blood fire formed a translucent pill furnace. The pill furnace had 3 legs and 2 ears, covered with blood-colored scales, and looked extremely thin. However, despite its thinness, it has extremely strong toughness. Sometimes it is stretched dozens of times, and even a long bump is pulsed by a dragon in a certain place, but it never breaks. It's really good. I have mastered the essence so quickly. Even Qinquan Cauldron couldn't help but admire. Its so-called transformation is just an idea, although it knows that it is very feasible, but the difficulty of transforming a magical power is unimaginable. Unexpectedly, just after listening to its concept, Long Chen immediately merged it, and it took only half an hour to condense the prototype of the pill furnace. Looking at the flexibility of this prototype, it is even better than Qinquan Ding expected. In this way, Long Chen has already succeeded in half. Buzzing. With the passage of time, the pill furnace in Long Chen's body began to look like it. Under the impact of the 3 forces, although it was still deformed, it was not as exaggerated as before. What surprised Long Chen the most was that the pill furnace gradually became stronger, and Long Chen could clearly feel that when the 3 dragon veins impacted the pill furnace, The energy on his body was slowly absorbed by the pill furnace and became the nutrients to strengthen the pill furnace. 3 hours later, Long Chen's pill furnace has been fully formed, it has become stronger and stronger, and the 3 dragon veins are in it, and it has begun to become weak. Buzz, after half an hour, the pill furnace trembled violently, all the power of the dragon veins melted in an instant, and then the pill furnace trembled, and Long Chen suddenly felt that a pure energy that had never been felt, instantly poured into the limbs and bones, down to Yongquan, up to Baihui. At that moment, Long Chen's body, which was almost torn apart, was instantly healed by 70% to 80%. Long Chen had already reached the great perfection of God Venerable before, but at this time, Long Chen felt that it was more complete than that at that time. So strong. Long Chen's heart was beating wildly, and the trick that Qingkuan Ding taught him was too strong. With his previous terrifying injury, even if there is chaos space to help, it will take a few days to recover. Now it recovers instantly. Can't believe it. In the ancient times, most orthodox alchemy practitioners would have 2 furnaces, one for the outer furnace and one for the inner furnace. Unfortunately, this method of cultivation began to gradually disappear because of the fall of a person. Qian Kunding said with some emotion. Long Chen didn't care about Qingkuan Ding's feelings, but looked at the pill furnace in Dantian. With the movement of Long Chen's mind, the pill furnace instantly turned into hundreds of millions of runes and merged into Long Chen's dragon blood. Buzz, when the pill stove disappeared, Long Chen was pleasantly surprised to find that the power of his dragon blood had recovered most of it in an instant, which meant that he could once again cast the cross to destroy God, and Long Chen was so excited that he almost cried out. This trick is transformed from the dragon swallowing the heavens and eating the earth. You can call it swallowing the heavens and refining the earth. Qingkuan Ding said. This name, it's not bad. Hearing what Qingkuan Ding said, Kiel Shiyue finally spoke up. It seemed that it was very satisfied with the name. After all, it only changed one word, and it was acceptable. Hey, then you don't need to repair, just set off, the target, Brahma Pill Valley. Long Chen smiled, suddenly high-spirited and high-spirited. Chapter 5044 Brahma Pill Valley, a name that resounds in the Emperor's sky, but all practitioners, no matter what race, no one does not know it. Although Emperor Heaven is vast, most of it is a forbidden area for life, and the area where practitioners can move is not large. And the places with rich products and sufficient spiritual energy are the places where the major forces must compete. For example, the Long family's heavenly desolate domain, the Long family can defend this place, and it has been preserved after countless bloody battles. However, although the heavenly desolate domain is large, because it is adjacent to the Sea of Demons, the living environment is not superior, but even such a region will be missed by countless forces. But in Emperor Heaven, there is an area with amazing properties, endless mineral veins, and abundant spiritual energy, but no one has dared to touch it. That is the 8 regions of Brahma. The so-called 8 regions of Brahma are the 8 regions controlled by the Brahma Pill Valley. Each region is several times larger than that of the heavenly desolate region. It can be said that the Brahma 8 domains is the best plate in the region where the human race is located in the entire Emperor's day, and it is also known as the core of the Emperor's heaven. Within the 8 Brahma domains, there are 2 very special domains. One is the Brahma domain and the other is the Tianai domain. These 2 domains are named after the god Venerable Brahma and the god Venerable Luo Tiana. The 8 Brahma realms and the other 6 realms allow outsiders to enter and exit, but the Brahma realm and the Tianai realm are only allowed to enter and exit the most devout believers of the 2 of them, and even ordinary believers are not eligible to enter. But the heavenly fire demon domain is not one of the 8 domains, but the cold sky domain in the 8 domains is a world of flames. Long Chen kept inquiring and exploring along the way, learned the location of the cold sky territory, and flew all the way to the cold sky territory. How do I get in? Long Chen was still thinking about this on his way. He just killed so many strong people in Brahma Pill Valley. Although the news may not be able to spread, Brahma Pill Valley must know that these people are dead. If he swaggered to Pill Valley like this, The probability of being recognized is very high, and the other party may also guard against him. Although he asked Qin Feng to return to the academy, he found someone to impersonate him and created the illusion that he had returned to Lingxiao Academy, but Qin Feng was on his way back to Lingxiao Academy at this time, and there were so many of them that they would not be able to act fast. If he has all arrived in the Cold Sky territory, and the news has not yet come out, then this strategy will not work. Boom! Long Chen rode the flying boat forward, and suddenly the void roared, and a powerful airflow whizzed past, causing his flying boat to roll over for a while, and almost didn't hit the mountain. Long Chen couldn't help but be furious. He looked up and saw a battleship that was hundreds of times bigger than his flying boat, whistling past, and there were bursts of laughter on the battleship. Obviously, the other party did it on purpose, just to see Long Chen's embarrassed appearance. Long Chen looked at the huge battleship and even drew a huge goshawk, and also felt the blood of the demon race from the battleship. Long Chen suddenly understood that the emotional group was also rushing to the Cold Sky territory, and it should have the same purpose as his. They are all heavenly fire demon territory. Forget, the Brahma Pill Valley is huge, and their followers almost cover all races. Then this time, the Skyfire Demon Realm, I'm afraid it's incredible. Long Chen suddenly felt a chill, and for a while he forgot to clean up them. That's not right, the more people there are, the easier it is to get in? That's why I'm afraid? Long Chen felt relieved when he thought of this. As Long Chen expected, with his speeding, countless chariots and flying boats whizzed past him one by one. Compared with those big guys, Long Chen, a flying boat that can only accommodate 100 people, looks so shabby. Moreover, Long Chen's speed is not fast, and he is constantly surpassed. However, Long Chen is not in a hurry. He is going to look at the situation, study and research, and prepare to choose the best way to get in. It is estimated that this guy Mo Nian should also leave. I don't know how he will get in. Long Chen was full of curiosity. However, based on his understanding of Mo Nian, he is the best at this aspect, and he can definitely pass the test easily. A shovel appeared in Long Chen's hand, and Long Chen looked at it carefully again. Except for the murder, MOE, a few words, there was only an arrogant smiling face, and then there was nothing. In other words, Mo Nian didn't know that his token would fall into Long Chen's hands. Otherwise, he would definitely leave some obscure messages to Long Chen. This shovel should have been in the hands of Brahma Pill Valley for a certain period of time, which means that this guy has not stopped since he separated from Long Chen. Everyone said that it is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge, and Mo Nian takes revenge. From morning to night, when he thinks of Xing Wujiang's death, Long Chen's hatred surges up. If they don't fall, at least Brahma Pill Valley will pay the price. Boom boom boom. More and more roars sounded, and these battleships and flying boats seemed to be showing off deliberately, increasing their speed to the fastest, and opening the sound of breaking the air to the maximum. Every battleship flying by, the sound of breaking through the sky will leave endless echoes between heaven and earth, and the void will leave a long scratch that cannot be healed for a long time. This is the case with almost every battleship. They seem to be using this method to declare their strength and fly in the most arrogant manner. This is not dead. Long Chen watched their flying boats roar past, and there was a sneer at the corner of Long Chen's mouth. If someone deliberately wanted to harm them, like Xia Chen's level, they set up a super powerful barrier in the void, and at their speed, they didn't have time to react, and they slammed into it. The huge impact force can directly smash the battleship into powder. Even a strong child of destiny will be hit hard if caught off guard. Below the child of destiny, there is almost no possibility of life. What is this? This is because he ate too much Taiping rice, and he wanted to seek a little excitement and began to play tricks. However, the opening of the Heavenly Fire Demon Domain in Dengu this time is also a super event, gathering an unknown number of arrogant monsters. Those who can be called arrogant monsters are basically extremely arrogant beings. If there is such a grand event, if you don't show yourself, wouldn't the bright pearl be cast in secret? Suddenly, a bird chirping sounded in the sky, and Long Chen felt that the whole sky was dark, and then saw a big bird that covered the sky and past the sky, and the violent wind caused Long Chen's flying boat to roll. Almost out of control. This is... When Long Chen saw the figure that covered the sky, he couldn't help but exclaimed, "Purple Lightning Divine Phoenix." The Purple Lightning Divine Phoenix, the fierce beast of the era of chaos, has the blood of chaos flowing in its body. In the past, this thing only existed in mythology, but I can't think of seeing it today. Long Chen looked at the back of Xidian Divine Phoenix, and unknowingly, saliva flowed down. This is a good thing. Buzz. Just when Long Chen looked at the back of the Purple Lightning Divine Phoenix, suddenly Long Chen's flying boat trembled, and then a behemoth slammed into Long Chen. Court deaf, Long Chen was furious. Chapter 50-45. What angered Long Chen was that a huge warship, as if not seeing Long Chen's flying boat, slammed into him so fiercely. Although before, a flying boat overtook him and deliberately rammed him with airwaves, but Long Chen didn't want to reveal his identity, so he endured it. And this battleship slammed directly over, obviously wanting to kill Long Chen directly. At that moment, Long Chen finally couldn't help it. Blood expanse, cross-extinguishing God. Long Chen rushed out of the flying boat for the first time, and at the same time he shouted, and in the palm of his hand, the colorful cross flowed, and slapped the huge battleship with a palm. Boom! Just as Long Chen flew out of the flying boat was smashed by the huge battleship, and at the same time, Long Chen's palm was also firmly printed on the giant ship. Boom! Under the fury, Long Chen's colorful supreme blood power was ignited without a trace, and a shocking explosion sounded. The battleship's frigate array was smashed for the first time, and then the entire battleship was torn by Long Chen's palm. Broken. Long Chen is above the void, steady and stable as a rock, but the broken battleship, due to its huge inertia, rushed forward for tens of thousands of miles, spreading like fireworks. The exclamations and screams were intertwined, and the endless blood stained the sky, with the bloody aura of demonic energy blowing towards the face. It turned out that the lord of this battleship was a group of strong men from the demon race. There were tens of thousands of people, and the demon race was inherently tyrannical. They were flying all the way, extremely arrogant, but just now, they were easily overtaken by a Purple Lightning Divine Phoenix. They didn't expect that there was a god of death living in this small flying boat. After Long Chen's palm, the battleship shattered, and countless people were killed on the spot. Only a dozen Tianmai-level Tianxing powerhouses and 8 Destiny children survived. Seeing that the battleship was destroyed and all the disciples were killed, the demon powerhouses were shocked and angry. At this time, the sturdy power of the demons was reflected. They didn't speak, let alone ask. They took out their weapons and killed Long Chen, and they burst out with all their strength. Puff puff. The Keel Evil Moon was slashed horizontally. A group of children of destiny and Tianmai-level heavenly saints were cut off with their weapons. Their so-called divine soldiers, in front of the Keel Evil Moon, were like radish and cabbage, vulnerable to a single blow. It turned out that in the Battle of the Long Family, the Dragon Bone Evil Moon devoured a lot of blood and soul power, and its blade became darker and darker. And in the dark blade body, countless runes are awakening. Unlike Qiankuan Cauldron, after the rune of Qiankuan Cauldron is awakened, its body will become more and more bright. When the Keel Evil Moon awakens, its body will turn blacker and darker, and the black chi is entangled in the road, and those sacred soldiers have been cut off one after another. Long Chen was taken aback by the sharp power of the Keel Evil Moon. At this time, compared with when he was in the Long family, there was a world of difference. With it in hand, Long Chen was even more powerful, and he didn't even need to apply Expand the Sky and kill the opponent. Run away. A Shuangmai Tianxing level demon powerhouse saw that it was not good, roared, and rushed towards Long Chen, trying to buy time for his fellow clan to escape. Puff! It's a pity that he overestimated his own strength, and he was cut into 2 pieces by Long Chen with a sword. And Long Chen is like a ghost, catching up with a few caught fish, slamming and killing them all. These people have no power to fight back in front of Long Chen. A bunch of scumbags, where did your courage come from? The anger in Long Chen's heart disappeared. This group of demons, I don't know which race they are, their strength is far inferior to the four gods, and they have the courage to kill him. No, I can't be so low-key, otherwise everyone will want to step on me. Now I dare to take action. When I reach the cold sky territory, I can't do it casually, otherwise it will definitely attract the attention of Brahma Pill Valley. I have to disguise it. That's it. Long Chen said to himself. In the world of practice, sometimes you really can't be too low-key, otherwise, there will always be some people who are not afraid of death who will come to step on you. These people bully the weak and take pleasure in killing others. Brother Long Chen, why don't you pretend to be a fire repairer? I will take off Qianfeng's feather clothes and put it on for you. Your style and temperament will suddenly change. I believe that even acquaintances will have a hard time recognizing you. Huolinger suggested. I'm wearing Qianfeng feather clothes? Long Chen couldn't help but fight a cold war. I am a big man, wearing a woman's clothes? Am I that perverted? Can any acquaintance recognize me? That's why acquaintances will pretend they don't know me, right? Long Chen was speechless for a while and decisively refused. Brother Long Chen, if you disguise as Lei Xiao, my power can completely cover up your breath and appearance. Lei Linger said. No, the aura of your thunder power heavenly tribulation is too heavy. There is no Lei Xiao in this world with this kind of aura. It's too noticeable. In addition, the guy who just passed by is the purple lightning divine phoenix. Have you sensed it? Do you have any ideas? Long Chen asked. Of course there is. Although Lei Linger didn't know the origin of the purple lightning divine phoenix, but from its body, Lei Linger felt the terrifying pressure. It was a remarkable existence. Lei Linger has followed Long Chen for so long, and she naturally knows what Long Chen is thinking. However, Lei Linger's emotional expression is relatively subtle, unlike Huolinger, who directly says what she wants. She really wants it in her heart. I want to, but I won't say it. Long Chen smiled and said, So, I can't use your power to disguise in case of confrontation with it in the cold sky. This guy must want to devour your power, so I have to deal with it. Although I don't know how strong it is, I can feel the strong pressure on it, which shows that this guy's strength is far above Zhao Qingtian and Yi Lingxiao, and even comparable to Long Tianrui. In other places, I am naturally not afraid of it, but I am afraid of revealing my identity, so before entering the Skyfire Demon realm, I still have to keep a low profile, but I can't be too low-key, otherwise there will be too many people who don't have long eyes to disturb me. Hearing what Long Chen said, Lei Linger was immediately excited, because Long Chen was already thinking about her. After Lei Linger was baptized in the divine pool, she could practice on her own, whether in the chaotic space or in the outside world. She could practice. She was already a child of destiny. But after becoming the son of destiny, Lei Linger discovered that her biggest weakness was not her own strength, but her powerful supernatural powers. Long Chen had already seen this point, but because there was no solution, Long Chen did not say it, so as not to increase anxiety for Lei Linger. But when I met the purple lightning divine phoenix today, Long Chen suddenly came up with an idea, saying that he had to get some treasures from it, whether he liked it or not. After thinking a lot, in the end, Long Chen decided to appear as Huixiu, and the flame chose Sunfire. Sunfire was the most powerful and could scare away some juniors, and most people would not dare to provoke him easily. Buzz, a pair of flame wings appeared behind Long Chen, a flame mask appeared on his face, he stepped on a flame sword, and flew away with the sword. Chapter 5046 Boom. The sound of the sword of flame breaking through the sky is like thunder. Long Chen steps on the flying sword and walks in the sky, with two long flame wings dragging behind him, which looks very windy. The violent flame fluctuations caused countless people to look sideways. When Long Chen put on this costume, no one dared to fly over his head. Even if someone thinks that Long Chen's speed is slow, they can only go far and surpass it so as not to offend Long Chen, because practitioners know that the temper of fire attribute practitioners is usually extremely hot, and it will catch fire and explode when touched. No one wants to be easily provoked. As a result, Long Chen suddenly felt much more relaxed. Sometimes, in the cultivation world, if you want to reduce trouble, You really can't be too low-key. After all, there are too many guys who look down on others. Long Chen flew all the way like this. After passing through the city, he lined up to take the teleportation array. I have to say that the strength of Pill Valley is too strong. Here, all the teleportation formations to the direction of the Cold Sky region are open for free, and all costs are covered by Dangu. Even at the edge of the teleportation formation, there are young Dangu disciples offering tea and cakes for those who pass by. Tasting. These Pill Valley disciples look extremely young, but their strength is very strong. On the surface, they are polite, but when someone senses their coercion, they can feel a strong pressure from them. A 9-star Destiny level Pill Valley disciple can make the half-step Destiny Sun feel a lot of pressure, which makes countless strong hearts awe-inspiring. When Long Chen saw this scene, he was stunned for a moment. When did Dangu become so low-key? But from the indifference in the eyes of those Pill Valley disciples, he understood that these disciples were in order to show Dan Gus hospitality. Pretend to be a low-key and easygoing look here. Long Chen can see at a glance that these Pill Valley disciples are very powerful in real combat. They are definitely not ordinary cultivators. They are powerhouses who have really been on the battlefield and experienced the baptism of killing. In the Long Family Elite Tournament, Long Chen did not see a real powerhouse, including Long Tianrui, who were not elites killed on the battlefield. Although there are people who are powerful and have rich combat experience, but after all, they lack the ruthlessness and courage that have been honed in life and death. Long Tianrui's strength is not said. Long Chen does not know her, but Long Chen believes that even in ancient times, the Long family regarded her as a future successor and never allowed her to be in any danger. The same goes for Zhao Qingtian, Yi Lingxiao, Jiang Wuliang and others. They are powerful, but they cannot show the lethality that he should have. However, these Pill Valley disciples in front of them had truly been on the battlefield and had gone through countless bloody killings. Otherwise, their eyes would not have been so sharp. Although they deliberately hide their edge, they still give people the feeling of hiding their swords in their sheaths. Of course, compared with the Dragon Blood Legion, they still have a long way to go, but compared with the Long family disciples, they are much stronger. Brahma Pill Valley attracts people with a low profile, but if someone dares to be rude to Pill Valley disciples, they will be fooled. Long Chen sees a powerful demon clan, and when Dan Valley female disciples deliver tea, secretly touched each other's hand. As a result, the female disciple turned his face on the spot and split the man in half with a sword. The man was a 9-star Destiny. After being cut by a sword, his body was instantly burned into nothingness by the terrifying high temperature. That blow, even the Son of Destiny was stunned. The moving. After killing with a sword, the female disciple put on a spring-like expression and continued to serve tea, as if nothing had happened. Long Chen pouted, "There are thousands of tricks in the world, only routines keep people's hearts." Brahma Pill Valley is a combination of grace and power. On the one hand, it shows his hospitality, and on the other hand, it also shows his majesty that cannot be provoked. First leave such an impression on people, and then enter the Cold Sky domain. It is relatively easy to manage, lest some guys who do not know the sky is high in the earth, come to the site of Brahma Pill Valley to cause trouble. After all, this heavenly fire demon domain belongs to the Brahma Pill Valley. Here, one must abide by the rules of the Brahma Pill Valley. When Long Chen was lining up, when the disciples of Brahma Pill Valley saw Long Chen, their pupils shrank suddenly. Obviously, they were both playing with fire and they recognized the flames on Long Chen. The fire of the sun, how could the alchemist not know it? Although Long Chen's sunfire has sun fluctuations in the air, but no soul, it is not the sunfire on the real skyfire list. If it is correctly explained, Long Chen's sunfire should only be regarded as the seed of the sunfire. Although Long Chen deliberately let Hualinger control the fluctuations and suppress the power to about 30%, it still caused the covetousness of the Pill Valley disciples. Although they looked calm on the surface, Long Chen saw greed and jealousy in their eyes. There are many people here. If there are few people, Long Chen estimates that they will kill people and snatch the fire of the sun. My friend, you are extremely pure with the power of flame. If you can join my Brahma Pill Valley, You will have a famous teacher to guide you, and a god to lead the way. Your future achievements will be limitless. A female disciple of Pill Valley couldn't help but stepped forward, probing the road. Her words meant to draw Long Chen into the Brahma Pill Valley, but from the look in her eyes, her thoughts were probably not that simple. If Long Chen is moved, she will definitely thread the needle for Long Chen, and then be deceived to a place, and maybe kill it secretly. The flame runes on Long Chen's face flowed, and it looked like a natural rune, covering his face, making it impossible to recognize his appearance through his face. A sarcasm appeared on the corner of Long Chen's mouth. Forget it, with your wolf-like eyes, I am afraid that you will eat it before I enter the Pill Valley. The face of the female disciple changed, and the expressions of the other Pill Valley disciples also changed. Long Chen said a word to their hearts. After all, as long as it is a fire repairer, there is no way to resist the temptation of the sun's fire, not to mention, being directly exposed to the conspiracy, their faces can't hang. The female disciple was a little hesitant whether to take Long Chen directly on the grounds that Long Chen deliberately picked things up, but it seems that there is no chance to take down Long Chen in an instant with just a few of them. If there is a fight, causing a huge sensation, and fearing that the impact will be bad, the woman doesn't know what to do for a while. Schwanger, don't be rude. At this moment, an old man in Dan Valley costume came out. When they saw the old man, many Dan Valley disciples suddenly came to their spirits. When they looked at Long Chen, their eyes became more greedy. Long Chen looked at the old man. A line of heavenly saints, what? Lao Tzu is already so low-key, you still refuse to let Lao Tzu go? Little friend, dare to ask where you are from? The old man looked at Long Chen up and down, and calmly, the powerful power of Tianmai instantly locked Long Chen. Chapter 5047. What? Your Excellency, are you trying to find out about me? If my background is not strong, are you going to take action? Long Chen looked at the old man with a sneering look on his face. The strength of this old man is quite good, much stronger than the heavenly saints of the 4 great god races, especially in terms of control. At the very least, when the old man locked Long Chen with the power of Tianmai, outsiders could not see any flaws, and thought that the old man was chatting with Long Chen amiably. However, in front of Long Chen, the power of the heavenly sage is nothing, and it has no effect on him. Seeing that Long Chen had endured his lock, but he was still calm, the old man's pupils shrank slightly. Everything here has been seen by him for a long time. When Long Chen appeared, he was immediately moved, but he had been observing secretly. For the fire of the sun, there is not a fire cultivator who is not envious, including this Tianmai powerhouse of course, but he also knows that to have such a flame is by no means an idle person, otherwise he would have been killed long ago. After testing it out, he found that this Long Chen was a stubborn stubble, and immediately changed his face and said with a smile, Your Excellency has misunderstood. I am looking for a person in Brahma Pill Valley recently. I saw that Your Excellency looks very similar to him, so I tried it out. The responsibility is, please forgive me. The old man said with a smile, but Long Chen's heart was stunned, and his clothes and body were very similar. Isn't that himself? Feelings, Brahma Pill Valley has begun to want him. However, seeing the appearance of the old man, he definitely didn't recognize him, otherwise, he would definitely not be able to laugh. This guy was just making an excuse to know his details. Is the test done now? Long Chen said lightly. I'm sorry, Your Excellency is free. The old man smiled slightly and made a gesture of begging. From an outsider's point of view, a dignified and powerful person can talk to others in such a gentle manner, and the demeanor and self-cultivation displayed is convincing. Long Chen didn't say much and went straight to the teleportation array. Looking at the back of Long Chen's departure, the woman who intercepted Long Chen before said to the old man, Grandpa, do we want to? No, this person is very strong, I don't think I can eat him. The old man said, You're not even sure? The woman was taken aback. She couldn't imagine that a heavenly saint-level powerhouse could not take down this kid. I'm afraid this person is not simple. His willpower is as strong as steel. Before my Tianmai coercion, he will not be affected in the slightest, and will not reveal the slightest flaw. Moreover, even the instinctive flame resistance has not occurred. This person's strength, hidden deeply. The most important thing is that we don't know who his backstage is. To win him is too risky to try easily, said the old man. Then let him go like that? The woman said extremely unwillingly. Let him go? No, I have already ordered someone to inform them. They will find this guy later. Hee, we will give them a tip, and then why should we have a share of the pie? The old man smiled. However, he is alone. How can he be divided? The woman asked inexplicably. You child, the fire of the sun on this guy can be decomposed into dozens or even more fire seeds by means. They will definitely not swallow it alone. Are you afraid that you will not have your share at that time? The old man was not angry. Hearing the old man's words, a smile appeared on the woman's face. When she looked at Long Chen, who had already walked towards the teleportation array, a gloomy smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Long Chen took the teleportation array to leave, and after arriving at the next teleportation point, he needed to fly to the next city before teleporting. Long Chen stepped on the flying sword and galloped all the way. Recalling the faces of those in Dangu, Long Chen's face was full of ridicule. I want to be a bitch, and I want to set up an archway, but the archway can't stand up, and I can't be a bitch, a bunch of idiots. Who is Long Chen? What storm have you not seen? He had never experienced any conspiracy or tricks, although he did not know what the old man was thinking. But from the look in his eyes, it can be seen that he will not give up. Damn, if I keep a low profile, I will be targeted by a fool. If I am a little high profile, I will meet a more advanced fool. Is I destined for a lifetime? Do you want to deal with idiots? Long Chen flew for 3 hours. Along the way, Long Chen encountered various teams. Some teams kept a distance from him, and some teams flew past him and greeted him. It is estimated that he was afraid of being rude and being troubled by Long Chen. Of course, there are also some powerful teams that fly by Long Chen and scrupulously, and some people even protrude their consciousness from the chariot and deliberately provoke them. However, this kind of provocation is relatively subtle, and Long Chen is too lazy to pay attention to them, so he gallops on his own. While flying, suddenly Long Chen's heart froze, and at the same time, Huolinger's warning came in his mind, and there were powerful flame fluctuations ahead, which seemed to be directed at Long Chen. There was a sneer on the corner of Long Chen's mouth. He knew that it must be the ghost of the old man. He must know his flight path and had already arranged traps on the road. Long Chen was too lazy to take a detour to avoid it, so he galloped according to the original road, and soon a large group of figures appeared in front of him. When he saw that group of people, Long Chen's heart jumped. Golden Crow Clan, dozens of powerhouses appeared in front. The leader was 3 Shuangmai heavenly sages, 5 heavenly sages of 1 vessel sage, and the rest were young disciples of the Golden Crow Clan. A dusty road ahead. When Long Chen appeared, the powerhouses of the Jinwu clan immediately surrounded him, blocking all of Long Chen's roads. On the body of the strong Jinwu clan, the flames soared into the sky and the breath was amazing. Other people who were on the road were startled when they saw this posture, and they all avoided it. But after bypassing, they did not walk away, but chose to stay in the distance and watch. After all, it was the Golden Crow, an ancient species that existed in the era of chaos. They were very curious as to who offended the terrifying Golden Crow. It turned out that the old guy told the Jinwu clan about my news. This is interesting. Long Chen saw the appearance of the Jinwu clan, and he immediately understood. The Jinwu clan also controls the fire of the sun, and he, a human race, even possesses the fire of the sun, so the Jinwu clan will definitely be very interested in him. The fire of the sun has always been the symbol of the Jinwu family. They believe that only their family is qualified to possess the fire of the sun. And other races have the fire of the sun, either stealing them or robbing them. In short, once they encounter the fire of the sun, they must take it back. Boy, say, where did your sun fire come from? When the strong people of the Jinwu clan surrounded Long Chen, a young disciple of the Jinwu clan stood up and pointed at Long Chen and shouted sharply. Chapter 50-48. Seeing this posture, Long Chen knew that it seemed that he couldn't be good today, and he couldn't help but be speechless. Why is it so unlucky? What about you, are you deaf? Seeing that Long Chen didn't speak, he looked at them like that, and a disciple of the Golden Crow was very annoyed. Brother Long Chen. At this time, Huolinger quietly called Long Chen. Long Chen responded, Brother Long Chen, these sons of destiny have destiny totems on them. I think I can absorb them, refine them, and raise them on the ancient Fusang wood. Huolinger lowered his voice and said, obviously it was the voice of the soul. Huoling, he still seems to be afraid of being heard by others. Huolinger's voice was full of excitement. She made a new discovery, because as soon as these people appeared, the ancient Fusang tree in the chaotic space became much more active. Fusang Gumu and the Golden Crow clan live together and nourish each other. Although Long Chen has also encountered the strong people of the Jinwu clan before, he has not felt any changes in Fusang Gumu. In fact, Long Chen didn't feel it this time, but Huolinger felt it. I don't know if it was because of the advanced Son of Destiny. Huolinger's spiritual sense became stronger and stronger, and he could even read the desire of ancient Fusang trees. Buzz, just as Long Chen and Huolinger were talking, a disciple of the Golden Crow was really impatient, and the figure flickered, appearing in front of Long Chen like lightning, a big hand with flames, just grabbing Long Chen's throat. Snapped, as a result. His hand just touched Long Chen's neck, and Long Chen's figure suddenly disappeared, and then the Jinwu disciple's neck tightened, and he was firmly clasped by Long Chen's big hand and lifted up. The disciples of the Jinwu clan are just the 9 stars destiny, not Long Chen's opponent at all, so they can handle it. Long Chen subdued the disciple of the Jinwu clan with one move, and the powerhouses of the Jinwu clan were taken aback. Long Chen's movements were so fast that even Shuangmai Tianxing felt a chill in his heart. Boy, if you dare to kill him, the old man promises that you will regret coming into this world. The Shuangmai Tianxing of the Jinwu clan shouted sharply. Brother Long Chen, he is useless. This guy can't condense the Golden Crow totem. Only those sons of destiny can condense the totem of destiny. Puff, Long Chen's big hand slammed hard, and with a loud bang, golden flames burst out, golden blood infected the sky, and the disciples of the Jinwu clan were crushed by Long Chen. Long Chen is not threatened by anyone, not to mention that this person is useless at all, and Long Chen simply kills him directly. After killing the man, Long Chen pretended not to hear clearly. What did you just say? It's too fast, can you say it again? Court death. The powerhouses of the Jinwu clan were furious, and they never thought that Long Chen would dare to kill their people under such circumstances. Under the fury of the Shuangmai Tianxing, he was about to take action, but there was a disciple of the Golden Crow who took the lead. That was a son of destiny. With a flicker of his figure, there were thousands of golden lights. Kong, the violent power of destiny, makes the universe change color. Leave this kid to me. The son of destiny of the Golden Crow clan shouted loudly and had already deceived Long Chen, with sharp claws like hooks, hitting Long Chen's throat with the same tricks as the previous disciple. Obviously, this person is extremely conceited. Although the tricks are exactly the same as the disciples of the previous Jinwu clan, the power of this claw is hundreds of times stronger than that of the previous person. The space around Long Chen has begun to distort and collapse. The son of destiny of the Golden Crow clan, when he made a shot, was a sharp blow. Seeing that he made a shot, the strong people of the Golden Crow clan did not do anything else, because in their hearts, as long as he made a shot, everything would be over. Because among these disciples, there are 3 sons of destiny, and this person is the strongest of the 3 sons of destiny. Brother Long Chen, kill it and let me extract his destiny totem. Huolinger exclaimed excitedly. Buzz, at this time, Long Chen's big hand slowly opened, and a purple cross appeared. Boom, one palm and one claw collided, and there was no turbulent wind, no earth-shattering explosion, only a muffled sound, and the whole body of the son of destiny of the Jinwu clan shook violently. He felt a strange heat flow into his body along the palm of his hand, and instantly scattered his limbs and bones, and then these heat currents erupted like magma, rushing from the limbs to his dantian. Puff! the son of destiny of the Golden Crow clan, gushed out a mouthful of blood. He looked at his palm in horror. He found in horror that his palm was showing a cobweb-like crack. Crack clap. I saw his palm crack and fall like broken porcelain. Seeing this scene, he screamed in horror, and the strong men of the Golden Crow were also stunned. Boom! Suddenly, there was an explosion, and the son of destiny of the Golden Crow clan exploded, and the golden divine brilliance scattered. However, at this moment, a fire dragon appeared and swallowed all the golden divine brilliance. That fire dragon is Huolinger. Long Qin used the purple blood cross to destroy the gods and killed the son of destiny of the Jinwu family. I have to say that the power of purple blood is too magical. The opponent killed but did not destroy the original power of the opponent at all. Although the cross of the 7 colors Supreme Blood and Dragon Blood is more powerful, their power is not easy to control. If one hits, the son of destiny of the Golden Crow will be directly smashed into powder, and the power of the source will also be scattered with one palm. This massive source power was not wasted at all, and was swallowed by Huolinger. After swallowing it, it immediately returned to the chaotic space and spit out a mass of energy towards an ancient hibiscus tree. Buzz, the huge tree body of the ancient Fusang tree trembled, absorbing all the power. Then, Long Chen was shocked to find that there was a golden bird squatting on the branch of the ancient Fusang tree. That little bird was only the size of a palm, and the horse was unusual. It had 3 feet on the soles of its feet, and golden flames circulated all over its body. It was the 3-legged Golden Crow. As soon as the bird appeared, Long Chen felt Huolinger's soul fluctuations on its body, and also felt a strange aura. Successful, successful. Huolinger turned into a little girl, picked up the little 3-legged Golden Crow, and danced with excitement. As soon as the 3-legged Golden Crow appeared, the whole forest of ancient hibiscus trees began to become restless, and their power slowly poured in. In that Golden Crow almost instantly grew from the size of a sparrow to the size of a rooster. As it grew, its fluctuations began to become more and more powerful, and Long Chen couldn't help but be surprised. This was an incredible discovery. At this moment, a thunderous roar came from Long Chen's ears, and all the strong men of the Jinwu clan rushed to Long Chen like crazy. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.